Hey guys, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Konoha regrets banishing Naruto Sasuke bashing? If you enjoy, then please like, share, and do comments. Neo-Uzu or Neo-Uzu for short, is built on the ruins of old Uzu village hidden in the swirling tides, located in Whirlpool Country. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is the daimyo of Whirlpool and Third Toad Sage. Nicknamed the Land of Exiles, Neo-Uzu and is home to several shinobi clans and other ninja nomad clans, as well as missing ninjas, missed refugees from the Bloodline Wars, as well as several samurai clans.
Have you ever wondered about a different side of Naruto's world? Welcome to Ninja Seduction on Patreon. We create mature, thoughtfully written what-if Naruto stories, along with exclusive comics and premium quality audio. Our community is interactive. Members can vote in polls, share ideas, and help guide future stories. If you enjoy creative storytelling and a more grown-up ninja experience, we'd be happy to have you join us on Patreon. The link is provided in the description.
Its shinobi forces rivals that of Konoha in its prime. It is also one of the 5 great shinobi villages in the country, having taken that title from its rival, Konoha no Sato. Konan Uzumaki is the Rokudame Uzukage of Whirlpool, while Yahiko Uzumaki is the commander of the Uzushiagakure ANBU Black Ops. Naruto's wife, Lady Hinata Namikaze, oversees the Uzushiagakure Medic Ninja program, while Enko Mitarashi oversees the Interrogation and Torture Division. The ninja teams are similar to those of Konoha, a 4-ninja cell, 1 jounin, 3 genin/chunin, of which Naruto's children with Hinata are the latter. The Uzushiagakure Council consists of 24 members, 12 civilian and 12 clan heads. The civilian and shinobi cannot influence the other, a lesson Naruto learned as a Konoha ninja, thus keeping the civilian and shinobi matters separate, with Naruto as the council head. Like Konoha, Neo-Uzu identifies its chunin and jounin by flak vests, light gray for the chunin, dark blue for the jounin and elite jounin, and are similar in design to those in Konoha. The Uzu ANBU is similar to its Konoha counterparts, but they do not wear animal masks to conceal their identities. Neo-Uzu has alliances with Suna, Snow, and Mist. Due to Hinata being the wife of the daimyo, has a non-aggression pact with Kumo, due to the fact that Kurabi and Yujito Ne both have a high degree of respect for Naruto. Iwa, despite the fact that Naruto is the son of Minato Namikaze, will not attack Neo-Uzu as they too signed a non-aggression pact. Konoha and Fire Country, on the other hand, is openly hostile to Neo-Uzu, and neither the Hokage nor the Fire Daimyo does not recognize the village nor its daimyo. Aside from the village, Whirlpool Country is home to a thriving mercantile guild known as the Pekara Merchant House, of which its main base of operations is located in the coastal town of Azura, with a port in Wave Country. The Pekara Merchant House has branches in Wind, Earth, Lightning, Spring, and Water countries, and has negotiated trade agreements with Sea, Tea, Forest, and Hot Water countries. Combined with the Wave Protectorate shipping fleet, the Pekara Mercantile Guild is the dominant merchant house in the area. Neo-Uzu has a 99% success rate in accomplishing assignments, both around Wave and in the elemental continents. Neo-Uzu also holds Chunin and Jounin tournaments twice a month among the Uzu shinobi, in order to keep their skills sharp. Uzushiagakure's methods of training has made Chunin and Jounin level ninja in less time than that of Konohagakure no Sato. Aside from those tournaments, Uzushiagakure also holds an annual Taijutsu tournament twice a year, of which the best from the elemental countries flock to Whirlpool Country to test their skills in open combat. Uzu's Medic Ninja training program is the best Whirlpool has to offer, so much so that Water, Spring, Wind, and Lightning often send their medics in training to undergo the training program, with great success. Rise of Daimyo Namikaze. In some cases, an end is merely a beginning in disguise. Such is the case of the current daimyo of Whirlpool, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The son of deposed Whirlpool daimyo Kushina Uzumaki and her husband, the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze, Naruto was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, 9-tailed fox, as his mother and grandmother was before him. Orphaned during the Nine-Tails attack on Konohagakure no Sato, Naruto was treated as the village pariah, seen by most of the village as the Nine-Tails reborn. rather than the village hero as his late father had requested in his final wishes to Jiraiya and Hiruzen Sarutobi. Instead, despite being denied nearly everything in his right, Naruto set his sights on becoming Hokage and with the support of Hiruzen Sarutobi, enlists into the Konohagakure Shinobi Academy. Graduating at the age of 12 along, he was assigned to Cell 7, consisting of Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha, with Kakashi Hatake as their sensei. Prior to the Chunin exams and the death of Hiruzen Sarutobi, Naruto would make an impression wherever he went. Most of Konoha's citizenry and shinobi forces would go on to say that their trading and military alliances were all because of the Uchiha, but history is sometimes written by those who slander their heroes. It was because of Naruto that Konohagakure and Fire Country had several trading and military alliances with Spring, formerly Snow Country, Wave Country, of which he used his shadow clones to steal and hide Gadu's immense wealth in Whirlpool Country, and handing over Gadu's shipping business to the people of Wave, Tea Country, Sea Country, and countless others. Despite all of this, Naruto was denied advancement because of the bigotry of the villagers. Not even when he was instrumental in stopping Gaara's rampage during the Tsunoto invasion of Konohagakure, or bringing back Tsunade Senju to become the Godame Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, he was still denied the rank of Chunin. The Uchiha Retrieval Mission, Betrayal, and Banishment. It is known that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Such is the case of Sasuke Uchiha. During the Chunin exams, he was approached by Orochimaru, who had placed the cursed seal of heaven upon his body, thus granting the Uchiha a sample of immense power. Seduced with the opportunity to gain more power under the Snake Sage in order to avenge his clan, Sasuke defected from the village. Almost immediately, a team of genin, led by newly minted Chunin Shikamaru Nara, was organized, consisting of Choji Akamichi, Neji Hyuga, Rock Lee, Kiba Inuzuka, and Naruto Uzumaki on Tsunade's orders to retrieve the rogue Uchiha. Assisted by the Sand siblings of Suna, Gaara, Kinkuro, and Temari, the Uchiha retrieval mission was underway. As the rest of Team Shikamaru faced off against the Sound Four, it was Uzumaki who had faced off against the Uchiha. Despite the use of the Cursed Seal and the power of the Chidori, Sasuke had fallen to both the greater will of his former teammate, as well as the power of the Nine Tails which Naruto wielded. With Team Shikamaru suffering numerous injuries, and Uzumaki himself suffering not one, but two Chidoris in the chest and shoulder, the Uchiha retrieval mission was a success, as Sasuke Uchiha was returned to Konohagakure no Sato. With the Uchiha safely back in the village and the retrieval mission a success, Naruto had hoped that he would receive the recognition from both the civilians and the shinobi that he had earned. He was wrong. Despite everything, he was to be banished, with the full support of Jiraiya, who is after his father's jutsu and seals, Tsunade Senju, who blames Naruto for Kushina's death, the Fire Lord, who wants a piece of the combined wealth of the Uzumaki Namikaze family, the other members of the Konoha 11, who sees Naruto as the Nine Tails incarnate, and the Konohagakure Council, who also wants a cut of the riches of Naruto's parents as well as the Uzushiagakure Jutsu. It was clear that both Tsunade and Jiraiya was not crazy about the Uchiha, as were the other members, but they hated Naruto even more. He also discovers that he is the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, and upon his banishment and death at the hands of the Root ANBU, the seals surrounding the Namikaze compound will be weakened enough for Jiraiya to break through, allowing Konoha to rob him of the combined wealth and jutsu belonging to the Uzumaki Namikaze clan. The only person against this sinister plot was Special Jounin Enko Mitarashi, who was demoted to Chunin for defending Naruto. Naruto, who had overheard the conspirators as he was disguised as a member of the ANBU Black Ops outside the Hokage's office, was outright furious at this betrayal by those he considered to be the closest thing he had as a family, as well as the callousness of the village and that of the Fire Daimyo. The dream of being Hokage died that very day. Aside from his impending banishment, Naruto had overheard that Hyuga clan head Hayashi Hyuga is planning on stripping his eldest daughter, Hinata Hyuga, of her position as heiress by her father and the Hyuga elders, and ordered to be branded with the caged bird seal upon confirmation of Naruto's death. Upon finding out about her father's intentions from Naruto during a visit to the Hyuga compound, Hinata decides to flee with Naruto. With an assist by the Nine Tails, Naruto left a Kyuubi-powered, explosive cage Bushin under a henge in Hinata's place before the pair fled to the safety of the Namikaze estate, the Nine Tails breaking through the seals with ease, allowing Hinata and Naruto access before sealing the estate behind them once more. While inside the estate, the kangaroo trial of Naruto Uzumaki was underway. Disgusted with the proceedings, Gaara and the Sand siblings had left for Suna, but not alone, as the Konohamaru Corps had left the village with them, despite the best efforts of Asuma Sarutobi, who had pleaded with his nephew and his friends to remain in Konohagakure. As expected during the trial, Sasuke Uchiha was cleared of any and all wrongdoing, as all blame was placed upon the cursed seal and on Uzumaki himself. The trial ended with a guilty verdict. The sentence was immediate banishment from the Leaf. Naruto and Hinata both fled the village hours after the banishment orders came down from the Fire Lord and the Konoha Council. Tsunade sent out a squad of ANBU Black Ops led by Kakashi Hatake, Hayashi Hyuga, and Jiraiya in hot pursuit of the pair the following day. While this is going on, Naruto had came into contact with Anko Mitarashi and had asked for her help. She agreed, as she was the only person in the village to realize that Naruto had gotten a raw deal. No one came to Naruto's aid, despite everything. Not even Ikaraku and his daughter, as it had turned out, had been poisoning Naruto's ramen since day one. Fortunately, the Nine Tails had neutralized the poisons, making them ineffective against the now banished ninja. As the people of Konohagakure celebrated the banishment of the Jinchuriki, Naruto made his own plans of escape. First, he and Anko cleaned out the weapons depot of every single weapons-grade exploding tags. In the dead or night, they tagged the Market District, the Uchiha District, and the Hokage Monument. Second, Naruto had broke into the Hokage's office and stole the forbidden scroll of sealing, as it had belonged to both his mother and father, as well as his birth certificate, signed by the Fire Lord and by his father. Third, out of pure spite, he killed the Fire Lord's cat, skinned it, and sent its remains to the Fire Lord's wife. Last, Naruto had Anko use her snake summons to notify Wave, Spring, and several of Konoha's allies of their treachery. Returning to the Namikaze estate, Naruto, Anko, and Hinata cleaned it out of its immense wealth, as Kushina did not trust Konohagakure with the Uzumaki clan's immense fortunes, combined with the wealth that Minato had gained, which is why she had hidden it inside the estate and of its jutsu. With the assistance of the Nine Tails, Naruto recovered an okatana from a hidden panel, the signature weapon of Kushina Uzumaki, and several Hurashin kunai belonging to his father. After rigging the place to explode with the remaining tags once Jiraiya break through the seals, Naruto, Hinata, and Anko waited. Once the false Naruto and Hinata were destroyed by Jiraiya and the others, Naruto triggered the exploding tags. In the ensuing chaos, Naruto, Hinata, and Anko escaped via reverse summon to the home of the Toads, Myabokuzen Mountain Asylum. With Hinata and Anko backing up his claims, Naruto told the Toads of Konoha's intentions and of Jiraiya's treachery. Enraged, Gamabunta and Fukasaku reversed summoned Jiraiya. The look on the perverted sage's face was all that was needed upon seeing Naruto, Anko, and Hinata standing before the Toad Council. Fukasaku, Shima, Gamabunta, Gamakichi, and Gamatatsu had ended up beating Jiraiya within an inch of his life, which was followed by the great Toad Sage sealing off Jiraiya's Senjutsu chakra. Before booting the now former Toad Sage out of Myabokuzen, Fukasaku issued the following decree. The alliance between Konagakure no Sato and Myabokuzen is hereby dissolved. You shame us with your actions, Jiraiya of the Sannin. We strip you of the summoning contract and give it to the son of the Yondaime. Furthermore, we will contact the other summons whose allegiance is that of Konohagakure and tell them to break off their contracts because of this treachery. Neither you nor the Leaf deserve our protection. Should anyone try to summon us, then Orochimaru will be the least of your concerns. Naruto was rewarded with the Toad's contract and began to undergo Senjutsu training. With the help of several shadow clones, he managed to get the basics down. By that time, the world outside of Myabokuzen was changing, and in Konoha's case, it was for the worst. As expected, upon receiving word of the conspiracy and of Konoha's treachery, Suna and Wind Country had terminated the military alliance with Konohagakure and Fire Country. Spring Country and Harugakure, formerly Yukigakure, did the same, terminating its own trading and military alliance agreements with Konoha and Fire Country. Wave Country followed suit, upon paying off its mission. Unknown to Konoha, Naruto had several shadow clones secure the immense wealth belonging to Gato and hidden it in both Wave and the ruins of Whirlpool Country. The victory was a bittersweet one, as Naruto, Anko, and Hinata were placed inside the bingo book, all a ranked missing ninja. Of course, Naruto's rank was raised to an S rank when it became known that Jiraiya had triggered the remaining exploding tags inside the Namikaze estate once he had broken the seals, leaving half of his face burned and killing several ANBU present. 3 months after the Sasuke retrieval mission, Naruto received word through Gaara that Spring Daimyo Kyuki Kazahana was offering the trio of missing ninja political asylum in her native Spring country. Accepting the offer, Naruto, Anko, and Hinata undergo a long and dangerous journey from Myabokuzen to Spring. However, near the Fire Lightning border, they ran into a Konohagakure scouting party consisting of Route ANBU. Despite crossing the border into Lightning Country, the Route ANBU remained in pursuit. Before the trio of missing ninja were overrun, they were rescued by a group of Jounin, led by Kumo Kanoichi Ujido Ne, Jinchuriki to the Nibai no Bakaniko, the two-tailed monster cat. Recognizing the missing ninja from the bingo book, Ujido took them to see the wreckage of Kumo, A, and his brother, Karabi, Jinchuriki to the Hachibai no Kyogu, the eight-tailed giant ox. There, the renegade Jinchuriki and the most powerful ninja in Kumo had a sit-down where it spoke of Naruto's father in a positive light. "We were on opposite sides in the last Shinobi War," explained. "We both fought when we were Jounin. Out of all of the ninja I had fought, your old man earned my respect. I actually mourned his untimely passing. Good man, even better ninja, gone before his time. Shame. I was looking forward to seeing who was the strongest Kage out of both of us." And Naruto would continue to talk for several hours. Afterward, A and the Lightning Daimyo granted Naruto, Anko, and Hinata safe passage through Lightning Country, where they caught a ship taking them to Spring Country. Under the protection of Daimyo Kazahana, Naruto, Anko, and Hinata felt safe for the first time in months. With Konohagakure Shinobi effectively banned from her lands, the missing ninja finally felt at peace. During this time, the Ninetales approached Naruto with an interesting offer, training in order to defend himself from not only his former village, but the Akatsuki in exchange for freedom. Naruto accepted the offer, and with the aid of the Kyuubi, safely broke the seal. Naruto had blacked out for 3 days, as his chakra system had adjusted to without the chakra of the Nine Tails hindering it. Upon regaining consciousness, he was greeted with the sight of a shapely red-headed woman standing nearly 6 feet tall with piercing green eyes, pale skin, and a curvaceous frame that could put Tsune to shame. The humanized Ninetales, whose self-given name was Katami Akashiya, laid out her plans for both Naruto and Hinata. She will train the both of them in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and kenjutsu. While Naruto undergoes the sage training by the Toads, Hinata will be training under Katami to become the third Fox Sage. Katami then revealed to Naruto several revelations that the Uzumaki, Uchiha, and Senju clans were the direct descendants of the Six Paths Sage. Whereas the Uchiha was granted the Sharingan, the Senju was granted Earth Release, while the Uzumaki, unknown to the Senju and the Uchiha, were given the ultimate Dojutsu, the Rinnegan. In the 4 years under Katami's tutelage, Naruto and Hinata's skills have drastically improved. Hinata had become a talented medic ninja and a prodigy in the taijutsu arts. Naruto, on the other hand, had become a master in both taijutsu and kenjutsu, and mastered both the sage arts and the Rinnegan, as well as learning political intrigue from Daimyo Kazahana and the Spring Council. By the age of 16, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze was christened the Third Toad Sage, while Hinata was declared the Third Fox Sage, complete with an enhanced Bikogen. It is also that while in Spring Country, Naruto and Hinata had gotten closer. By Hinata's 13th birthday, they were both dating. Once their training was completed, they were married, their wedding attended by Daimyo Kazahana, Katami Akashiya, Anko Mitarashi, Gaara and the Sand Siblings, Team Misfits, Mari Sarutobi, Mogi and Udon, and Gade Mizukage Terumi. The union from the pair would produce 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl, fraternal twins. Minato Uzumaki Namikaze would be the designated heir to his position of daimyo, while Hitomi Uzumaki Namikaze worked to surpass her mother as a medic ninja. Their godparents were the Kazekage Gaara and the Sand Siblings, Team Misfits, the Reikage A and his brother Karabi, Ujido and Daimyo Kazuhana, showing that the revitalized Namikaze clan had friends in high places. The mercenary years. The next 7 years, Naruto, his wife, and Anko found work as ninja mercenaries. During this time, two renegade Aimgakure ninja joined their ranks near Kumigakure. Uzumaki master swordsman Yahiko Uzumaki and his companion, deposed Aimgakure leader Konan. Both were former members of the Akatsuki, the organization of S-class missing ninja who were in fact controlled by Uchiha clan founder Madara Uchiha. As it turned out, Yahiko was descended from refugees of the Uzumaki clan which had scattered in the last Shinobi War and was raised in Aimgakure. Like Naruto, Yahiko was disillusioned with how his organization had ended up corrupted. Furthermore, he was happy to see that he was not the last of the Uzumaki clan. He had also given Naruto vital information in regards to the Akatsuki, that Madara Uchiha desired the powers of the tailed beasts for his plans of word domination. It also became known that Konoha was redoubling their efforts in eliminating the missing ninja after Jiraiya's spy network had informed the former Toad Sage that the missing ninja had resurfaced. However, it was during a Taijutsu tournament being hosted in T Country that after defeating Rock Lee, Tenten and Hinata defeating Neji Hyuga and Anko Mitarashi besting Mighty Guy that Tsunade, and the Konoha Council saw that they were not the same Genin-level ninja who had fled the village. They were now SS-class threats. Over the 7 years, Naruto and Hinata had decimated the ANBU Black Ops and the route ANBU sent their way by Konoha no Sato, as well as the bounty hunters looking to cash in on their bounties placed on their heads. The Ino Shikacho trio fell to the Namikaze couple, Shikamaru notifying the council that the missing ninja were parents, much to Hayashi's dismay. The elder Ino Shikacho trio tracked the Namikaze family and Anko Mitarashi to Spring Country, where they were visiting Daimyo Kazuhana. Like their children, Inacha Yamanaka, Shikaku Nara, and Chusa Akamichi failed. Trying the political route, Konoha sent a special envoy to Daimyo Kazuhana led by Jiraiya, Hayashi Hyuga, Kakashi Hadake, and Danzu Shimura, demanding that she hands over not only Anko, Naruto, and Hinata, but also their children, as he planned on branding them with the caged bird seal and shoving them into the branch family. Kazuhana flatly refused the demand, as the Namikaze family and Anko had left earlier that week. Kazuhana was not amused. "You want me to hand over the hero of Spring Country, who without him, my homeland would still be under the rule of my uncle, a tyrant who tried to kill me. And why should I surrender the whereabouts of our hero and his family?" Hayashi maintained his stoic posture. "With all due respect, Lady Daimyo, the Kyuubi brat is a threat to the safety of Konoha no Sato and of Fire Country. Both him and his whore must be eliminated." Kazuhana scoffed, "A threat that is of your own creation. Oh yes, I know how Konoha pissed on the dying wishes of the Yondaime, Naruto's father. I also know about Shimura's desire to turn him into a living weapon because he is the jailer of the Nine Tails." Danzu's eye narrowed dangerously. "Be careful how you speak of such things, Lady Daimyo. You may not like how people choose to defend themselves." "You should be more worried about yourself, Councilman Shimura," Kazuhana replied, her voice as cold as ice. "I do not respond to idle threats very well. You can take your demands and shove it. I will not betray Namikaze, his wife, or my godchildren. Furthermore, I have no desire to deal with a village who would not only kiss the ass of a potential traitor and blame a boy for something that was not in his control." "You dare insult the strongest of the shinobi villages," Hayashi responded. "Wars have been started for less. The Fire Lord and the Godaim will not like this, Lady Daimyo." "I dare because Konoha is not as strong as you claim it to be," Kazuhana replied, unfazed by the threat. "And I know several other villages and countries that would love to see Konoha burned to the ground. Mist and their water Daimyo, Suna and my counterpart in Wind Country, 3 villages against 1, not good odds, no Sandaime, no Yondaime, and no Jinchuriki to save your asses. You are right about one thing, Hyuga. Wars have been started for less, especially when the head of a foreign nation is threatened and insulted." Danzu looked troubled. "You wouldn't dare, you couldn't." "Oh, I would, Councilman," Kazuhana shot back. "Now leave. I've made it clear that Konoha is not welcome here, especially those from Cell 7. Furthermore, any acts of aggression towards myself or towards Spring Country will result in war. Get out. With the political attempt a failure, Konoha redoubled their efforts, only to have a sizable portion of their ANBU decimated and the Konoha 11 defeated, along with the elite Jounins. In hot water country, it came to a violent head. Led by Kakashi Hadake and Kurenai Sarutobi, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame tracked down their missing teammates and a fight ensued. In the years of their exile, the Konoha ninja found out the hard way that Naruto and Hinata had drastically improved in their skills. With Konan and Yahiko watching from the sidelines and keeping an eye on Minato and Hitomi, the fight commenced, with Hinata and Kitami fighting Cell 8 and Naruto and Enko dealing with Cell 7. Unknown to both parties, Jiraiya was watching the brawl from the shadows. The fight was indeed brutal, but despite superior numbers, Kitami and Hinata defeated Cell 8, while Enko had taken down Sakura Haruno, leaving Naruto to face his former teammate and sensei in a 2-on-1 match. Despite Kakashi being a master of over 1,000 jutsus and Sasuke obtaining the Majinkai Sharingan, Naruto unleashed the fury of his Taijutsu and Senjutsu arts upon the Sharingan wielders. One Hurricane followed by 1,000 years of pain, i.e., Naruto punting Kakashi in the ass, sending him through a tree, and the lazy Jounin was out of commission. Enko bowed out of the fight as the Uchiha Prince and the Namikaze fought in a rematch from their confrontation at the Valley of the End. As expected, Sasuke used the power of the Cursed Seal, of which Naruto countered with his Rinnegan. Sasuke was easily outmatched as Naruto once again, and was dealt a crushing blow to Sasuke's ego by defeating him with little effort but sparing his life and leaving him with some parting words. Remember this day, old friend. Remember the day that the dead last had you in his power. You're not even worth staining my hands or my blade with your blood. Go home. Go home and remember that I spared your pathetic life on a whim. Cross me again, and your brother will be the next best choice of reviving the Uchiha. To put it in words that you will understand, you fuck with me, I will send your head back to Konoha. Upon returning to Konoha, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Kurenai report to Tsunade and the council about Naruto's bloodline. This catches Danzu's interest as he begins to see the possibilities of having the Rinnegan in his possession. During the 7 years abroad, Naruto met an older wandering shinobi by the name of Rashoujin Hattori Hanzo. Unknown to Naruto at the time, Rashoujin is the great-grandson of the late Aimgakure warlord Hanzo the Salamander and the current holder of the Salamander contract. It was originally thought that Hanzo's family had been wiped out in the Second Shinobi War, but that was false. One of Hanzo's daughters had escaped at his request and had taken refuge at a minor shinobi village. The ensuing battle between Naruto and Rashoujin lasted for 3 hours and had ended up leveling a chunk of forest country. Ninjutsu, Taijutsu, even summons were used as Naruto and Rashoujin gave each other no quarter. In the end, the battle was a draw, but both Naruto and Rashoujin came to respect the other for their strength and will. It is through this encounter that Rashoujin will take back what is rightfully his Aimgakure no Sato. Revival of Whirlpool and Daimyo of Whirlpool Country. Following the 7 years traveling abroad, Naruto decided to set up shop in Whirlpool Country, his mother's ancestral home. The dream of being a Kage having long since died following his banishment, he formed Neo-Uzu no Sato with Konan Uzumaki as the Rokudame Uzukage. By birthright, Naruto Namikaze was the next in line to rule Whirlpool Country, so he took control as the 5th Whirlpool Daimyo. As Daimyo, Naruto's bingo book entry is automatically invalid, as is Hinata's entry since she is the Daimyo's wife. The Whirlpool Ruins was already populated with the remnants of the Uzumaki clan who had decided to stay, as well as a number of Ronin samurai and those who fled Mist and Water Country during the bloodline purges. Backed with the infinite reserves of Gato's wealth that he had stolen, Naruto had Neo-Uzu up and running within 9 months. With Naruto as the daimyo, he began to recruit even more ninja, as well as rebuild the island and village. He even went as far as annexing the island north of Whirlpool, a mountainous, forested region, and turned it into a training and living area for the Uzumaki shinobi. The Namikaze children were the first to graduate from the rebuilt Uzumaki shinobi. Minato turned out to be a prodigy in the Uzumaki Namikaze style of Fuinjutsu and Taijutsu, while Hitomi was a gifted medic ninja and a master in her mother's style of Shin Juyuken and her father's Kenjutsu. With Minato possessing the Rinnegan and Hitomi the Bikogan, they found themselves in the crosshairs of their parents' former village. But as expected, sheer luck and pulling off the impossible, not to mention being completely unpredictable, is an Uzumaki trait that Naruto passed on to his kids once they became Uzu shinobi. Aside from being the daimyo of Whirlpool, Naruto also taught at the Uzushiagakure Shinobi Academy in weapons combat and taijutsu. Through Uzushiagakure's methods, the revived village was known to produce Chunin and Jounin level ninja in half the time it took for Konohagakure to produce ninja of that caliber, which irked Konoha to no end. As daimyo of Whirlpool, Naruto forged military and trading alliances with lightning, wind, and spring countries. Through hard negotiation, he managed to get Earth Country and Iwagakure to sign a non-aggression pact between their two countries and villages, as Iwa is honor-bound not to violate the diplomatic immunity status that Naruto has a Whirlpool daimyo. It is also through the annual taijutsu tournaments which Naruto holds that Konoha finds out about Naruto's resurfacing as the Whirlpool daimyo. A team of Konohagakure ninja, led by Jiraiya, were sent to both scout Whirlpool and to win the prize money. They failed to win, but reported back that Naruto was the leader of Whirlpool and of his children with Hinata. In an interesting side note, Konoha had sent out a marriage proposal to Kitami Akashiya, unknown to them as the Nine Tails in human form, on the behalf of Sasuke Uchiha. Kitami flat out refused the offer, which ultimately meant that Sasuke, and more importantly, Konoha, would gain a major foothold in Whirlpool country, thus undermining Naruto and Konan's authority. Second, Hayashi sent word to Hinata that he wanted to meet both her and her children. Wisely, Hinata refused, knowing that her father would violate the automatic immunity status she has as Naruto's wife by attacking her and their children. Her concerns were verified when a crack squad of Konoha Root ANBU and a squad of Hyuga ninja infiltrated the island country with orders to kidnap both Minato and Hitomi, Danzu wishing to take Minato and train him to be Konoha's ultimate weapons because of his eyes, and Hayashi wishing to subjugate Hitomi to the caged bird seal. They did not get very far, as their presence was detected by the Whirlpool daimyo and his wife almost immediately. The squad of Konoha ninja were slaughtered with the exception of one of the Hyuga ninja, of which Hinata allowed to return home. After placing a time-delayed caged bird seal on her, designed to kill her once, she returned to Konoha to deliver a message to both Danzu and Hayashi. To Councilman Shimura and Hayashi Hyuga, I believe the men sealed inside the scroll belong to your Root ANBU and your main branch clan, respectively. It is with regret that our children could not accompany them, as they have other priorities pertaining to Whirlpool. Sincerely, Daimyo Naruto Namikaze, Lady Hinata Namikaze. In the 5th year of Naruto's rule as Whirlpool daimyo, the Akatsuki once again resurfaced. Despite having lost Hiden and Kazuku, both were killed by Yujido and Kurabi. The organization of S-class criminals were still a threat. Later, Naruto received word that a joint Oto-Akatsuki invasion of Whirlpool country was imminent. Led by Akatsuki chieftain Madara Uchiha and his second-in-command Pain, with the Oto forces commanded by Orochimaru, Whirlpool looked to be finished before it started. Unknown to both Orochimaru and Madara, their intentions were already known by Naruto through his network of spies and informants, and he had planned accordingly. Suna, led by the Keizukage Gaara, along with Mizu, led by the Gade Mizukage Terumi, formed a military alliance with Uzushiagakure, as they both had scores to settle with both Odo and the Akatsuki. With the blessings of Yujido and Kurabi also joined in the battle, along with a small number of Kumo Jounin. The Uzushiagakure invasion has begun. With the civilians evacuated, Naruto led the assault. With the shinobi world watching in anticipation, the invasion had begun. Fighting broke out in Whirlpool and North Whirlpool. It was also the shortest battle in the history of warfare, lasting only 3 hours. In that time, the Akatsuki were wiped out, and Orochimaru's forces were decimated. Kitami Akashiya was credited with slaying Madara Uchiha. Kabuto Yakushi was slain by Hinata Namikaze. Itachi Uchiha and Kasame Hashigaki were both killed by Naruto Namiax. Orochimaru narrowly escaped as his Odo forces were slain down to the last man. Seeking asylum in the one place he had sought to destroy, he was welcomed into Konohagakure by his former teammates. There, Orochimaru had given a fully detailed account of the Uzushiagakure invasion and of Itachi's defeat by the hands of the Whirlpool Daimyo himself. Sasuke was not very happy to hear that Naruto was the one to have killed his brother. Tsunade and the Konohagakure Council grants Orochimaru asylum under a series of conditions, that Orochimaru will not conduct any experiments on the populace and that he takes Sasuke Uchiha on as his student. Orochimaru agrees to the conditions set before him. The legendary Sannin were once again on the same side. It would be another year until Orochimaru would meet his untimely end. As Whirlpool rebuilt its village and island, Naruto entered into a series of negotiations with the people of Wave Country. As Wave was still open to attack from Fire Country, the Whirlpool Daimyo offered protection in exchange for Wave becoming a protectorate under Whirlpool, as most of the Uzu shinobi there had loved ones and family in the southern island. Tazuna and the Wave Council agreed to the terms. Wave Country would greatly benefit under the protection of Uzushiagakure and its daimyo, who they see as a hero. However, Fire Country and Konohagakure would object to the plans in a most extreme way, thus initiating the Wave conflict. Led by the three Sannin, Konohagakure invaded Wave Country 2 years later, claiming that Whirlpool was a threat and that Wave would act as a buffer zone. Before a full-scale war could erupt, Naruto challenged the three sages in a 3-on-1 match. Should they win, then Naruto would surrender Wave and retreat to Whirlpool. Should Naruto win, then Konoha loses all claim to Wave and leave the island. With the gathered Konoha ninja watching, Sasuke Uchiha, Kakashi Hatake, and Sakura Haruno among them, as well as the other members of the Konoha 11, Naruto fought the three Sannin. Despite the numbers advantage that the three Konohagakure ninja had over the Whirlpool Daimyo, Naruto had countered each of the Sannin's attacks and defeated them. With the people of Wave, the Konohagakure ninja, and the Kazakage and Mizukage watching as witnesses, Naruto, perched on top of Gamakichi's head, passed judgment upon the Sannin. By right, Wave Country is now under the protection of Whirlpool Country and of Neo-Uzu Shiagakure no Sato. Any further attempts of aggression towards the people of Wave will be seen as an act of war. To you, Jiraiya, Tsunade Senju, and Orochimaru, you were granted the title of Konohagakure's legendary Sannin by Hanzo the Salamander as a result of surviving his onslaught. As that title was blessed upon you, so it can be taken away, as the daimyo of Whirlpool. I strip you of your title of legendary Sannin. Orochimaru did not take the news very well. Kusanagi drawn, he tried to attack Naruto from behind. Naruto, having suspected that Orochimaru would try and pull something like this, activated a hidden seal placed on his body during the match, effectively immobilizing him long enough for Naruto to decapitate him with his katana. Threatening to do the same to the remaining former Sannin, Tsunade and Jiraiya led the Konoha ninja back across the bridge and back into Fire Country. Days later, the Great Naruto Bridge was destroyed by a squad of Uzushiagakure ANBU's demolitions unit, effectively cutting off access from the mainland. It would be the last time that the Namikaze clan would set their eyes on the disgraced Sannin ever again. Invasion of Fire Country. In the decade following the banishment of Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Konohagakure's status as one of the strongest shinobi villages had started to wane. Repeated attacks from both the smaller villages and the deaths of several high-ranking shinobi, and the near-crippling effects of the trade embargo set in place, Konoha and Fire Country as a whole was now seen as a pariah state, especially after their performance during the Wave conflict, in which Naruto had stripped the title of Konoha's legendary Sannin from Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya. After the death of Orochimaru, Tsunade stepped down as Godame Hokage, and Sasuke Uchiha was named the Rokudame Hokage of Konoha. Almost immediately, Sasuke made plans to invade Whirlpool and the Wave Protectorate and destroy his nemesis once and for all. But it was not meant to be. With the rise of Aimgakure as a major shinobi power and its alliance with Iwakage no Sato, Danzu, the Fire Lord and the Konoha Civilian Council saw Rashoujin Hanzo as a major threat. Unknown to Sasuke, Danzu had ordered a Black Ops mission with his best root ANBU, ordering them to head into AIM and assassinate Rashoujin Hanzo. The mission was a failure, as Hanzo and his AIM shinobi slew the root ANBU. It was only after AIM marched into Fire Country and towards the Fire Capital did Sasuke find out about what Danzu had done. Furious, Sasuke killed not only Danzu Shimura, but also the Konoha Civilian Council, the two elder ninja, Koharu Udatane and Hinmura Mitokado, and seized control of the route ANBU. Hanzu's forces moved swiftly through Fire Country, laying siege upon the Fire Capital and taking the Fire Lord and his family hostage. Sasuke led a crack squad of Jounin-level ninja to liberate the Fire Capital and free the Fire Lord. But Hanzu saw this coming and led the Hokage and his forces into a trap. Out of a force of 200 Jounin, only 10 survived the slaughter. Among the casualties were the original Ino Shikacho trio, Shino and Shibaya Burame, Tsum and Kiba Nyuzuka, Hayashi Hyuga, Neji Hyuga, Mado Gai, Rock Lee, and Kakashi Hadake. Sasuke Uchiha was injured when Hanzu ripped out his eyes and crushed them under his heel, before crippling the Uchiha, rendering him unable to use his legs. The mission was a failure and the surviving Jounin was forced to retreat. In desperation, Konoha and the Fire Lord reached out to their former allies for salvation. Suna and Wind Country flat-out refused, as did Spring Country. Kumo and Lightning Country remained neutral. With Sasuke Uchiha crippled, Tsunade was forced to retake the post of Hokage. Several other minor shinobi villages rallied to Aimgakure's cause, launching guerrilla-style raids on Konoha, weakening the village even further. After Tsunade took back her post, Grass Ninja launched a devastating raid on Konoha, destroying the hospital and killing all inside, including Sakura Haruno, Shizune, and the crippled Rokudame himself. The situation looked very bleak for Konoha and Fire Country. Their shinobi forces were down by half, leaving only a handful of battle-experienced Jounin, along with Chunin and Genin who had not seen battle. Oh yes, Konohagakure was in its final days. Soon, Hanzu would do what even Orochimaru had failed to do, and will soon launch a Leave No Survivors assault on the village. Prologue. The streets are extended gutters, and the gutters are full of blood, and when the drains finally scab over, all the vermin will drown. The accumulated filth of all there and murder will foam up about their waists, and all the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us," and I'll whisper, "No." Roar set Watman. Neo-Uzu no Sato, Whirlpool Country. 19 years after the Uchiha retrieval mission, 8 years after the founding of Whirlpool. Early morning in Neo-Uzu no Sato. Aside from the Uzu ANBU which patrolled the streets and the surrounding countryside, it was very peaceful. The previous night, however, it was a different story. It was the anniversary of Whirlpool's reformation under its current daimyo. The son of its previous daimyo, Whirlpool Kunoichi Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, and her husband, the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze, he had resurrected Neo-Uzu and led it to greatness under his rule. In 8 years, Neo-Uzu was one of the strongest shinobi villages, having surpassed Konohagakure no Sato. Inside the daimyo's residence, which was a walled compound, rather than a castle typical for the ruler of the country, the daimyo in question was in bed with his wife. Clothes were strewn across the floor from the door leading to their bedroom. The room was locked with a seal, which kept any noise made inside out and to keep anyone wanting to come in outside. The man was 6 feet tall, with a wiry muscular frame. Tousled blonde hair framed his face, of which the fox-like whiskers which had identified him as a Jinchuriki were gone. Despite being 31, he still held a boyish charm to his face. He was also awake, as his body was pressed firmly into his wife's backside. One calloused hand ran along her curves, causing her to giggle in her sleep. 19 years, and he knew the contours and curves of her 5'6" frame like the back of his hand. Like him, she was also 31, him being 2 months older than she was, buxom with long dark hair ending halfway down her back. Usually she would let it fall down her back, but when she was training the medic ninjas or sparring, she kept it tied in a braid. She giggled again. This time she was awake. "Pervert," she whispered. "That's daimyo pervert to you," was the reply. She turned around in the bed so that she was facing him. His azure eyes stared back into those of pupilless lavender, which identified her as one of the Hyuga and wielder of the Baikogen. Hinata Namikaze stuck her tongue out at her husband. "Well, daimyo pervert, you plan on getting out of bed. Our kids are still here, you know." Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze smiled back at his wife. "We got about an extra hour. You can set your clock to Minato and Hitomi." He moved in for a kiss, but ended up kissing air, as Hinata had escaped his grasp. She was now standing on her feet, naked as the day she was born. With natural beauty like hers, men would gladly go to war for her hand. Fortunately for Naruto, she was all his. At least she was considering enough not to pull a substitution jutsu like the last time. Just one kiss, Hinaheim. He mocked, begged. Her response was to throw a pair of pants at him before slipping on a crimson robe over her naked form. Naruto saw that it was the robe he picked up for her from his last visit to Wave Country when he was checking up on the Uzu garrison stationed there. Hinata loved that robe. The last time you said that, we ended up destroying the dining room table, she replied as Naruto got out of bed, now naked from the waist up. Naruto smiled at the memory. It was 3 weeks ago. Hitomi and Minato were out on assignment. Kitami was roaming the grounds in her fox form, and they were all alone. In my defense, you started it, he replied, as it was Hinata who instigated the whole thing. One flash of yellow light and Hinata found herself pinned to the wall by her husband. She could have easily used a substitute jutsu to escape, but she enjoyed teasing him and she enjoyed his attention to her. So, Naruto gently pressed his weight against his wife. If I wanted to stop right now, you think you could stop me? Hinata smiled. I think the question you should be asking me is, do I really want to? They resumed their kissing. Naruto noticed that Hinata was leading him back to their bed. Damn, it feels good to be the daimyo, he thought as Hinata pounced on him. Neo-Uzu complex sometime later. The Neo-Uzu complex served as the nerve center of both Neo-Uzu and of Whirlpool Country. Rather than a tower like Konoha's Hokage Tower, the compound consisted of 2 buildings. The first housed the offices of the Uzukage and the daimyo, and the second was known as the House of Sovereigns, which housed not only the council chambers, but it served as the main headquarters of both the Pekara merchant house and of Neo-Uzu's spy network. Currently, Naruto was inside his office, signing off on several documents, mostly minor disputes between shinobi and clans, nothing serious. Conan, on the other hand. Naruto smirked inwardly at his cousin's wife. She loved the position of Kage but hated the paperwork. Naruto took pity on her and taught her the Kage Bushin, which saved her the headache of paperwork. Naruto himself used the shadow clones on several occasions, when the paperwork that came with being the daimyo became too much for him. Leaning back in his chair, his eyes roamed over several photos that sat on his desk. The first was that of himself when he was younger and the old man that was like a grandfather to him, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Naruto was wearing the old man's Kage hat, while Sarutobi smiled broadly. The second was that of Hinata and himself on his wedding day in Spring Country over a decade earlier. Naruto smiled at the memory. Turned out that Kayuki had made friends with a priestess from Demon Country named Shin, who conducted the ceremony at her request. Hinata had looked radiant in her dress with the flowers in her hair. It was a private ceremony with only their closest friends and allies present. The third picture was a family photo of the Namikaze family. Naruto and Hinata were seated, Naruto dressed in a white shirt, black vest, pants and boots, while Hinata was clad in a stunning black chesagam and looking very regal in her pose. Then there were their 2 children, fraternal twins rather than being identical. They were both diametric opposites of each other from their personality down to their respective bloodlines. Minato took after himself in both personality and in skill, as he was a prodigy in Fuinjutsu and Kenjutsu. He did not have the Bikogen like his sister, but rather the Rinnegan. 14, with spiky blonde hair mimicking his father, with lively blue eyes. Fortunately, he did not take to wearing orange as he once did when he was just a genin, but rather dark colors, more suitable for a shinobi. His hit 8 was around his head. He was also his heir to rule as daimyo once he stepped down. Hitomi took after Hinata in both appearance and quiet personality. Pale skin with short dark hair, think MGS4's Rosemary's hairdo, with the pupil-less lavender eyes that were a signature trait of the Hyuga. Unlike her brother, she was a prodigy in taijutsu and a natural in medical ninjutsu. Like her brother, her attire was also dark, i.e., Hinata's Shippuden uniform. Her hit 8 was around her left arm. She would be the next fox sage when it came time for Hinata to step down. They were born a year after their marriage. When Naruto revived his mother's homeland, they were the first to enroll into the Shinobi Academy. At the age of 10, they both graduated. 3 years later, they both received their Chunin vests after successfully completing the Chunin exams. It was then he noticed the scrolls. They had been dropped off earlier by a member of the Neo-Uzu ANBU, and Naruto had forgotten all about them as he focused on completing his paperwork. From the markings on the scroll, they came from the ANBU's Intelligence and Recon Division. Naruto picked up the first scroll and opened it. The scroll was brief, but the message contained inside caught him off guard. It was from the spy network located near the bounty station, near the Fire Lightning border. It read, Rain invaded Fire Country, Fire Daimyo prisoner inside the Fire Capital. Naruto looked at the time and date. 72 hours old. This happened during the Neo-Uzu festival, he thought as he opened the second scroll. This one was more recent as it was only a day old. This one was a bit more detailed as it said that following the Fire Lord's capture, a crack team of Konoha elite jounin, led by their Rokudame Hokage, attempted to infiltrate the Fire Capital in order to free the daimyo. The mission was a failure and most of the team that was sent in were killed. Naruto read the names of those who were killed in the rescue attempt: Inoichi Yamanaka, Shikaku Nara, Chuzaka Michi, Suma Nyuzuka, Kiba Nyuzuka, Asuma Sarutobi, Kurenai Sarutobi, Shibaya Burame, Shino Burame, Neji Hyuga, Hayashi Hyuga, Mado Gai, Rock Lee, and Kakashi Hadake. The Rokudame Sasuke Uchiha was grievously injured while fighting the head of Aimgakure and had to be carried out by the surviving jounin. Naruto leaned back in his seat. Even after nearly 20 years, his former village had still left a bad taste in his mouth. Konoha was full of traitors and backstabbers who had showed their true colors on that fateful day. No one, not even his former teammates, helped him, all because he was a Jinchuriki. The dream of earning the people's respect by becoming Hokage died that day, which led to him and Hinata, along with their sole supporter, Enko Mitarashi, to flee Konoha. He summoned an ANBU who was outside and ordered him to bring in Enko, Konan, Yahiko, Hinata, and Katami to his office immediately. Minutes later, so AIM made their move against Fire Country, Enko asked as Konan and Yahiko read the scrolls. I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. Konoha and Fire Country must have done something big to piss those two villages off. Given who's running the village now, I wouldn't be surprised, Hinata replied. To say that Sasuke Uchiha is a tad unbalanced is to say Water Country is a bit wet. But he could be a puppet ruler, Konan said. The Konoha Council holds most of the power, while the Hokage is nothing but a figurehead. It was a miracle that the Sande managed to keep you away from Danzu. Naruto frowned. That meddling, one-eyed warhawk had been a thorn in his side. Whether it's trying to kidnap him when he was younger or his attempt to kidnap his children for their bloodlines, he annoyed him to no end, but Konan did have a point. Hiruzen always did have a kind heart, Naruto admitted, smiling at the picture of himself and old man Sarutobi. But you're right, Konan. One thing I learned about politics is that you say one thing but mean another. When the old hag stepped down, the council must have basically handed the Uchiha the position of Hokage, thinking that he could be someone they could control. Only problem is that the Uchiha runt does not like to be controlled in one way or another, Kitami pointed out. The Uchiha wants to be the ones in control and does not share power with anybody. She smiled meanly. A side effect of the Sharingan is that it makes the wielder batshit insane. That got a good laugh out of the group. You got a point there, Kitami said. Look at Madara, Fugaku, and Itachi, and it's not hereditary as in Hadake's case. Any idea as to who is running AIM? Konan asked. Naruto chuckled darkly. The great-grandson of Hanzu the Salamander, Rashaojin Hanzu. Took me a while to remember the name, but it clicked in my head. We met in Forest Country, remember? That, and he showed up several times whenever Uzu holds the Taijutsu tournament. Naruto remembered the man very well. A hulking mountain of muscle standing 6 feet 8 with dark hair and a deep, menacing voice when angered. He was like them at a time, a nomad without a home. He was also a very skilled shinobi and proved it when he challenged Naruto in a test of skills. The battle ended in a draw, but Naruto respected the man's skill. Rashaojin also showed the same respect towards him as well, and the two men left the field of battle. Rashaojin was, fortunately, not like his crazed great-grandfather. When Hanzu ended the wars and came out as AIM's new leader, he had his concerns. In the end, he decided to leave the older ninja alone. Danzu fought in the Second Shinobi War alongside old man Sarutobi, the snake, the hag, and the perv. I also know that Danzu screwed Hanzu over and had him and most of his family killed, Naruto noted. Danzu must have heard that Hanzu's descendant had ended the civil wars in AIM and seized control of the village and area and saw him as a serious threat, so he must have dispatched his root ANBU to AIM to assassinate Hanzu. Konan immediately caught on what Naruto was saying. Only problem is that the mission goes south. Hanzu finds out who is responsible and wants the heads of those responsible. But he doesn't stop there. He wants to get even by raising Konoha to the ground, and Iwa wants in on the action. You sure about that? Anko asked. If I was either Hanzu or Kuretsuchi, I would, Yahiko said. The council need to know about this, and what about our shinobi? If AIM attack them, then we will have no other choice but to counterattack. I agree, Naruto replied. Konan, send word to our shinobi abroad, have them pull back into Suna, Kumo, and Haru. They are not to antagonize the ninja from AIM and Konoha in any form or fashion. Follow the shinobi rules of engagement for this one. All shinobi assignments and missions are temporarily suspended in the fire region until this mess is over. There's something else, Hinata said. I'm sorry for getting off the subject, but I got to ask. Back when we worked as mercenary ninja, you killed the bounty hunters that came after us, my former clansmen, the ANBU and Root ANBU. Naruto saw where this was going. Even Konan, Yahiko, Katami, and Anko were curious. But you wondered why we spared our former senseis, our former teammates, and the higher-ranking jounin. He smiled. Easy, Hinaheim. As shinobi, we are told the many ways we can kill our enemies. Flesh can tear, bones can break, but to wound their pride, to crush their spirit like God's boot heel is how you truly destroy them. Yahiko nodded in understanding. The disgrace of getting one's ass handed to them by the dead last and the worthless heir to the Hyuga would definitely eat at their ego. And they have to live with the shame and disgrace that the two people who were written off and banished had spared their lives because they weren't worth killing is a fate worse than death. Aside from that, you make even more mistakes, up to the point where you will ultimately bring about your own destruction. Anko approved, psychological warfare at its finest, the Snake Queen noted. I like how you think, Naruto. Have I ever told you that? The daimyo of Whirlpool chuckled. Maybe, but I fail to remember. Go and assemble the council. Might as well tell them about this new development. The room cleared out with the exception of Katami and Hinata. Something on your mind? Naruto asked. Kano has been hit pretty hard ever since we left the village, Hinata noted. They've lost every single alliance they had because of you. On top of that, they've been fending off attacks from rival villages, but without allies, their power and influence has been decreasing. There's something else I did not mention about the failed attempt to rescue the Fire Daimyo, Naruto said. The attempt to rescue the Fire Lord resulted in several casualties. The original Inoshikacho trio, Asuma and Kurenai Sarutobi, your former father and cousin, the Inuzuka matriarch and her son, the Aburame, Mado Gai and Rock Lee, and Hatake all KIA. Naruto noticed the expression on Hinata's face. It was a subtle one, but it soon disappeared, leaving a neutral, stoic expression. Hearing about the demise of her former father and cousin, her former team and sensei left her with mixed emotions, but she squashed them immediately. And the Uchiha? Kitami asked. Blinded in both eyes and left a cripple, Naruto replied. He had long since closed the chapter on his rivalry with the Uchiha, as he had proven to Sasuke and all of Konoha that he was stronger than their precious Uchiha. It wasn't because of the Rinnegan that he wielded either. While Sasuke had everything literally handed to him, Naruto had worked hard to get where he was at, and that hard work paid off when he revived his mother's homeland. You know that Konoha will more than likely ask for our help, Hinata said. They always believed that you would defend your precious people in their darkest hour. Naruto scoffed. The people that are precious to me are here. Konoha chose a traitor over me. They did not see me as a human being, but rather the Nine Tails reborn. Some of them hate the Uchiha runt, but they despise me even more. People I thought were my friends tried to kill me over the years. Tucha and Gan with their poisoned ramen, your own sensei with her genjutsu, even Tsunade and Jirtya wanted my death for their own selfish reasons. The daimyo of Whirlpool rose from his seat. I will not aid Konoha in this mess of their own choosing. Even if they offer me the position of Hokage, I would not accept it. They made their choice. Now they have to live with it, which is not for very long. Kano Hagakure no Sato, Fire Country, 2 weeks later. 19 years earlier, Kano Hagakure no Sato was in its prime. It was the strongest of the shinobi villages. With clans such as the Hyuga and the Uchiha among their ranks, as well as the power of the Nine Tails at its disposal, it was a village that commanded respect and was feared by its enemies. Now, 19 years after the Uchiha retrieval mission, the Leaf's power and influence has waned. It was no longer the strongest of the villages, as that position was taken by Neo-Uzu. The village itself was under attack by rival ninjas from the smaller villages, such as Smoke, Grass, and Waterfall. Each attack was repelled by Konoha just barely, but it was starting to take a serious toll on the village. Parts of the village were still in ruins from repeated attacks. The village walls had numerous holes in them from exploding tags and animal summons, and the war was just getting started. Then the leader of Aimgakure came to the village. Tsunade Senju and the Konohagakure Council, what was left of it, looked down on the leader of Aimgakure with great disdain. It wasn't the actual leader, but rather a shadow clone sent to Konoha from the Fire Capital, where he currently was at with his hostages, the Fire Lord and his family. With Sasuke Uchiha dead, Tsunade was forced to take back the mantle of Hokage. The leader of Aimgakure was tall, standing nearly 7 feet tall. Dark hair was tied into a ponytail, the eyes showing intensity, as well as hidden intelligence, and stark ruthlessness. In the 19 years since the conclusion of the Uchiha retrieval mission, Konoha had not recovered from the fallout following Uzumaki's banishment. She had no love for the Uchiha and made it clear, but she despised Naruto even more as she blamed him for Kushina's death. Jiraiya was also present. The left side of his face was horribly scarred, a memento from Naruto. Using blood left over from his blood clone, Jiraiya had unsealed the Namikaze estate, only to find the place empty of its wealth and jutsus. The chest loaded with exploding tags was something that even he didn't see coming. "Your ninja disappoint me, Senju." His voice was deep and menacing. Here, I was expecting a challenge from the village who fancied itself as the strongest of the shinobi nations. If your precious Uchiha wasn't much of a challenge, then what is the point of talking? "You got a lot of nerve to show your face here," Tsunade shot back. "The will of fire is still strong in the leaf." "And yet you have failed in your rescue attempt of the Fire Lord," Hanzo replied. "And there's not need for empty threats. We all know that Konoha is no longer the strongest of the shinobi villages. Your allies have long since forsaken you because of your past deeds. Tell me, Senju, did the Leaf ever got their alliances back with Suna? Perhaps Spring, even Mist? I don't think so. You are alone in this matter." Tsunade's voice died in her throat. It was true. Ever since Naruto's banishment, the Leaf and Fire Country had become a pariah state. In less than 2 decades, Konoha had lost its status as one of the 5 great villages to Neo-Uzu. And even more worse, Hasnu continued, twisting the knife. Despite repelling attempts of invasion by the smaller villages, they have been taking their toll. Your shinobi forces are down by what, half, maybe more. Konoha is still strong. Hanabi Hyuga, now the Hyuga clan head following the death of her father, shouted. He had died while attempting to rescue the Fire Daimyo along with her sensei, Asuma Sarutobi. "We will fight you to the death." Hanzo tapped his chin as if in thought. "Strange, your father and cousin said the same thing before I killed them," he replied as if he was discussing the weather. That did it for Hanabi. Byakugan ablaze, she tried to rush the older man but was held back by the Inoshikacho trio and Hana and Yuzuka. "You monster. You killed my father and cousin, I'll fucking kill you." Hanabi screamed. Hanzo merely waved her off as if she wasn't a threat. "You couldn't kill a cockroach in your state, but me, on the other hand, I could launch a full-scale, take-no-survivors assault on this cesspool of a village, and with Iwa backing me up, Konoha will be nothing more than a footnote in the history books." But Jiraiya prodded as Hanabi collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. "But I will give you a chance for you to save your village and live in what little dignity you have left," Hanzo continued. "As I've said before, your ninja were not that decent in the field of battle. You have grown complacent in your supposed superiority and gotten lax. Your trump card, the Uchiha, has ultimately failed. Hadake. The Sarutabis, that crazy Taijutsu master and his protege, the Inuzuka, the original Inoshikacho trio, those who you have put your faith in, has failed you. Give me the challenge of a lifetime, and whether I win or lose, I will withdraw from Fire Country." "We'll fight you anytime and anywhere," Tsunade said. "You misunderstood me, Senju," Hanzo replied. "The challenge is not here. I wish to fight the one the Leaf has forsaken in favor of the Uchiha." Jiraiya's eyes went wide, as did Tsunade's and everyone else in the room. "You mean," the old perv began. "Yes," Hanzo replied. "This is not negotiable. I wish to fight the Leaf's greatest champion." The one who had defeated the Uchiha not once but 3 times, and has stripped you and your comrades of that precious title that my great-grandfather bestowed upon you. I want the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Bring me Naruto Uzumaki. Office of the Hokage later. Tsunade looked out of the window and into the village. Repeated attacks over the years had taken its toll upon the leaf. Konoha was now reduced to half of its population and the village was in bad shape. Ever since Aimgakure had declared war on Fire Country 2 weeks earlier, the minor villages had been launching guerrilla-style assaults on the village, weakening the leaf even further. The last battle was quite vicious. Grass Ninja had infiltrated the Konoha hospital and leveled it. The hospital was transformed into a triage center. Sasuke Uchiha was being treated at the time by Shizune and Sakura Haruno when the attack came. Grass Shinobi came charging in and let loose with explosive clones littered with exploding tags. The hospital was destroyed in the blast, killing all inside. The Uchiha line along with the Sharingan was now extinct. The civilian council was gone, having fled the village with their families, leaving only what remained of the Shinobi Council. Aside from Hanabi Hyuga, who had taken her father's place on the council, there was Hana Inuzuka, now the last surviving member of the Inuzuka clan. Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akimichi also sat on the council, replacing their fallen parents. The old guard Danzu Shimura, Koharu Udatane, and Hinmura Mitokado had died at the hands of Sasuke himself when it became clear that this whole mess was Danzu's fault. After Rashougen Hanzu left the village, Tsunade retreated back to her office. Seated behind the desk, sake bottle in hand, she was taking swig after swig of the drink. Ever since the deaths of Shizune and Sakura, she hadn't stopped crying and drinking. What remained of the civilian population mourned the death of the last Uchiha, some of them even blaming Naruto for their current predicament. Tsunade chuckled bitterly. She blamed Naruto for many things, but this time Naruto was innocent. She blamed him for Kushina's death, and blamed him for the downward spiral which led to Konoha's fall from grace and the revival of Whirlpool, leading to Neo-Uzu's position as one of the great shinobi villages. But the one thing she hated him for most of all was stripping herself, Jiraiya and Orochimaru, of their titles of Konoha's legendary Sannin following the wave conflict 2 years ago. Both Konoha and the Fire Lord thought that Whirlpool and Neo-Uzu would self-destruct with the so-called Kyuubi brat as its daimyo. They even bet on Iwa declaring war on Whirlpool and eliminate the last Namikaze once and for all. But as always, pulling off the impossible was at the top of Naruto's already long resume. He had grown even more powerful during his exile, and both him and his wife were a credible threat. Not even the remaining members of the Konoha 11, their senseis nor Danzu's root could stop them. He even negotiated a non-aggression pact with Iwa and Earth Country, thus securing Whirlpool's safety. Iwame had been war-happy, but even they would not attack Naruto, despite being Minato's son, given his automatic diplomatic status, and that the Wind Daimyo had personally forgiven Naruto for the sins of the father. So when Konoha marched into Wave Country via the bridge, they planned on annexing the island to Fire Country and use it as a forward operations base to invade Whirlpool. They were surprised to find that the main village was already evacuated and that the daimyo of Whirlpool was already there, with his wife and with his Neo-Uzu forces. It was there that Naruto threw down his challenge, Konoha's legendary Sannin versus the Whirlpool of daimyo. The prize was control of Wave Country. Tsunade had to admit that Naruto was out of his mind to present those terms. Should he win, Konoha will leave Wave, never to return, and Wave will be under the protection of Whirlpool. Should Konoha win, then Whirlpool will concede defeat and withdraw from Wave, allowing Konoha to take over. The 3 Sannin accepted the challenge, assuming that they would net an easy win. They thought wrong. Naruto was once known as the unpredictable ninja, the one who could make the impossible possible. It was something he took pride in, both as a warrior and as the daimyo of Whirlpool. With his victories over his former cell, Madara Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha, the 3 Sannin could have been cautious. Naruto took on the 3 Sannin, with the gathered Uzu and Konoha ninja watching. Tsunade remembered how Naruto had countered her chakra-powered super strength with his own, of how he destroyed the coffins of the first 4 Hokages when Orochimaru tried to unleash the impure world resurrection, and of how he countered Jiraiya's Rasengan with a Senjutsu-powered Rasengan of his own. In the end, their arrogance had led to their downfall, and Naruto had it planned as well. Aside from Neo-Uzu and Konoha, the Kazekage and the Reikage were also present, as were the Spring Daimyo who was shooting a movie in Wave when they heard about the invasion. Despite the fact that it was a 3-on-1 battle, Naruto had the Shadow Clones, his Fuinjutsu, the Huraishin Jutsu, and the Rinnegan. The three Sannin were defeated by the Whirlpool Daimyo, by the same person that they had each considered the dead last and completely useless. Summoning Gamakichi, Naruto stood on top of his head and made the following proclamation. By right, Wave Country is now under the protection of Whirlpool Country and of Neo-Uzu no Sato. Any further attempts of aggression towards the people of Wave will be seen as an act of war. To you, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Senju, and Orochimaru, you were granted the title of Konohagakure's legendary Sannin by Hanzo the Salamander as a result of surviving his onslaught. As that title was blessed upon you, so it can be taken away. As the Daimyo of Whirlpool, I strip you of your title of legendary Sannin. Lady Hawkage. The voice of Ino Yamanaka snapped Tsunade out of her thoughts. She was not alone. Standing on either side of her were her teammates, Shikamaru Nara and Chouji Akimichi. Jiraiya was behind the Ino Shikacho trio, as was Tenten. The war had taken its toll on the four elite Jounin, as Ino, Shikamaru, and Chouji had lost their parents in the failed rescue attempt, while Tenten was the remaining survivor of Cell 9. It had gotten worse from there, as Yashino Nara committed suicide upon notification of her husband's death, and Chouji's mother had a fatal heart attack once it was known that Chusa was dead. Neither had children of their own, but took it upon themselves to raise Asuma and Kuroni's two children. The Ino Shikacho trio were also present in the council chambers when Hanzo made his demand. They knew that Naruto would defend his precious people, but after being screwed over for the Uchiha and shunned and hunted by those he thought were his friends, even Shikamaru knew that the chances of Naruto coming to their aid were pretty slim. Anything from our former allies? Tsunade asked. Earlier in the week, she had sent out word of Konoha's distress to Suna, Spring, and even Kumo for aid. Bad news all around, Ino replied. Suna flat out refused to help, as did Spring. Mist also said no. Kumo is remaining neutral in this conflict. There is no way around it. We need Naruto. After how we screwed him over for the Uchiha and a piece of his inheritance. Shikamaru butted in, knowing full well of Konoha's personal motives in banishing and their attempts to kill the former Genin-turned daimyo for his clan's wealth and jutsu. Not to mention Hayashi and Danzu's attempts to kidnap their children. We'll be lucky if Naruto doesn't lead the charge into Konoha himself. Jiraiya and Tsunade knew that the slacker was right. Neither person had no love for the Uchiha, but they disliked Naruto for their own reasons. It was because of those actions that Naruto saw their offenses as a betrayal to both his parents and to himself, and Naruto never forgot those who slighted him and his family name. Both generations of the Ino Shikacho trio had went after him, Hinata and Anko, whilst the trio were working as ninja mercenaries. Both had failed. When it became known that Naruto himself had revived Whirlpool as its daimyo, it was Shikaku and Shikamaru who reminded the Konoha Council and the Fire Lord that Naruto, much to their dismay, was protected under diplomatic status, as he was the recognized leader of a foreign nation, as was Hinata, since she was the wife of said daimyo. But it was Sasuke who pointed out that as their children were active shinobi, they were fair game, hence Danzu and Hayashi's attempts to capture both Minato and Hitomi. Minato for Danzu's root ANBU because of his Rinnegan, and Hitomi for Hayashi in order to subjugate the girl to the caged bird seal. That attempt failed. Naruto saw each failure as giving a big middle finger to Konoha. Tsunade didn't know who she hated more. Danzu was the one directly responsible for the mess that Konoha was currently in, along with Koharu and Hinmura. All three were killed, along with a sizable number of the civilian council by Sasuke himself. There's the possibility that Naruto could forgive us, Ino suggested, grasping for straws. If it was the old Naruto, then yeah, the slacker replied. People change in nearly 20 years, especially those you screw over, Ino. Enough, both of you, Tsunade ordered. We are in a state of emergency. If we don't do anything, then Konoha will be destroyed. As much as I hate to admit, we need that brat of a daimyo if not to defend Konoha, but to at least force Hanzo to cease hostilities. It was also a known fact that Whirlpool's daimyo was well respected, even to his enemies. Having survived being a missing ninja longer than any known ninja tends to do wonders for your reputation. That, and playing a role in the Akatsuki's destruction, was a nice bonus. Even the remaining members of the Konoha 11 saw that their village was better off with the Jinchuriki. The civilian council thought otherwise, praising the now dead Sasuke for their prosperity when it was actually Naruto's doing. We don't have an exact timetable over when Hanzo and his allies will attack Konoha, Jiraiya said. The scarred super pervert took his place alongside Tsunade, which is why you four will leave for Whirlpool immediately. By the time you will get there, the annual Taijutsu tournament that Whirlpool annually holds will commence. And by tradition, the daimyo of Whirlpool must grant anyone who comes before him an audience. That part was very much true. Ever since Naruto revived both Neo-Uzu and Whirlpool, he hosted an annual Taijutsu tournament twice a year. It was an economical boom to Whirlpool, and it showed goodwill on Whirlpool's behalf. As part of that tradition, the daimyo of Whirlpool has to grant an audience to anyone who comes before him. Usually it's just a minor petition for favors and such. This is an SS-class mission of the utmost importance, Tsunade continued. Go to Whirlpool Country, get a hold of that Gaki, and tell him of our situation. Tell him that if he sides with Konoha, then the village will recognize him as the legitimate heir to Minato Namikaze, and we will recognize Whirlpool and Neo-Uzu. I don't care if we have to pay him reparations for the abuse he suffered. I want him on our side. You're not really going to do what you promised, are you? Chaoji asked. Of course not, Tsunade replied flatly. I'm merely ensuring Konoha's survival. And Tsunade wonder why people avoid us like the plague, Ino thought darkly, but kept silent. Aside from favoring potential traitors over heroes, Konoha had developed a reputation for stabbing their clients in the back. It was a major reason why they were unable to gain any trading alliances with the neighboring villages and countries. You four will leave within the hour, Tsunade ordered. Head for Azura and get Whirlpool on our side. Once Hanzo and Aim is dealt with, I will personally deal with Naruto. Ino shook her head. The conflict in Wave had left her even more bitter. When Jiraiya lost the backing of the Toads, she too lost the support of the Slugs, who also threatened to destroy Konoha should she try and summon them again. What made Tsunade see red was that the Slug contract was passed on to Gaara's wife, who had studied under Hinata. Matsuri would go on to build a medic ninja program in Suna following Neo-Uzu's example. But it was Naruto stripping the legendary Sannin of their title was the final straw. Orochimaru tried to attack him from behind, only to lose his head as a result. Shikamaru sighed and accepted the mission scroll. He had talked with his teammates and even he knew that Konoha was in its last days, but as long as he wore the hit aid of the leaf, he will do his duty. Ino and Chaoji both felt the same way. It was after their parents had confessed their role in the conspiracy to rob Naruto of his inheritance and legacy that up until that fateful mission to rescue the Fire Lord that their relationships with their parents have been strained. They disliked Naruto for being the Jinchuriki, but they were not so crazy about having a virtual traitor as Hokage and a second traitor return to Konoha with so much as a slap on a wrist, despite having killed Hiruzen Sarutobi. Once the Ino Shikacho trio and Tenten were gone, Jiraiya turned to Tsunade. You think Naruto will go for helping us? We're not exactly his two favorite people in the world, you know. The Gaki will help us, Tsunade replied firmly. He would die for this village, protect it with his dying breath. In the coming days, she would find out how wrong she was. For the four ninja assigned to the task, it would be the last time they would see Tsunade alive again. Neo-Uzu Whirlpool Country, 1 day later, training ground number 12. Naruto had kept close tabs on the conflict on the mainland. His network of informants and spies proved to be even more capable and more efficient than Jiraiya's own spy network. He even knew the perverted bastard's informants by name. The most recent news he shared with Hinata concerning Konoha showed its weakness. Sasuke Uchiha was dead, Sakura Haruna was dead. Like Hinata, Naruto was the sole surviving member of Cell 7. Sasuke had the dubious honor of being the Hokage with the shortest term in history, even more shorter than his father's reign. Aimgakure knew where and how to strike and used the minor villages to its advantage, having them strike at Konoha, depleting its forces even further. Naruto approved. With the annual Taijutsu tournament approaching, he was expecting less people to show due to the conflict. The Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament was held in the town of North Azura on the northern island. The island was also known as a popular vacation hotspot for ninja and civilian alike. Ivana had settled there after stepping down as Reikage, allowing Yujiro Ne to assume the position of Reikage. The Taijutsu tournament was Naruto's brainchild, and it brought the best of the best from the shinobi nations. For 1 week, North Whirlpool was a literal battleground as ninja fought each other. For 1 week, rivalries and hatred was put aside as ninjas fought for a hefty prize and the title of champion. No bloodlines, no weapons, no jutsu. Your hands and feet were the weapons. Naruto himself fought in the tournament only because he was challenged by Sasuke Uchiha, who had competed in the tournament in its inaugural year. The whirlpool of daimyo took pleasure in stomping the Uchiha prince down. It also sent out the message that the whirlpool daimyo was someone that should not be taken lightly in the field of combat. At the moment, the daimyo of Whirlpool was sparring with his former pupils, while Yahiko, Konan, and Hinata watched. When Naruto reformed Whirlpool, Maru, formerly Konoha Maru, Sarutobi, Mogi, and Udan were Suna Chunin, having left Konoha with Gaara in the aftermath of the Uchiha retrieval mission. Not even Asuma threatening to disown Maru should he leave did not change his mind. Asuma followed through with his threat, in which Maru responded that Asuma was dead to him and that he was a disgrace to the memory of the Sandaime. When word came to Team Misfits that their boss was now the daimyo of Whirlpool, they approached Gaara and asked to resign in order to emigrate to Whirlpool. Gaara, knowing of Naruto's friendship with the younger ninja, allowed them to leave with his blessings. Upon arriving in Whirlpool, they were the first of many Chunin-level ninja to arrive, Naruto opening citizenship to bloodline refugees, nomad, civilian, and samurai alike. Naruto took the three under his wing. In the 8 years that followed, Maru, Mogi, and Udan still called themselves Team Misfits, but they were one of the best teams Neo-Uzu had to offer. Like his grandfather, Maru was an expert in ninjutsu. Combine that with the Monkey King summon, and people saw the young Sarutobi as the second coming of the professor. Mogi turned out to be skilled in medic ninjutsu, and she learned under Hinata and Katami. Udan was the tactician of the trio. His keen mind combined with his skills in taijutsu made him a fan favorite in the taijutsu tournaments. Maru had married a local girl from Wave Country who worked in the Pekara merchant house and was a father himself. His sons were enrolled in the Neo-Uzu Academy. Mogi and Udan both married each other and settled in Neo-Uzu as well. Their child was also in the Shinobi Academy. Dressed in his combat attire, i.e. black Konoha-style flak vest, cargo pants, and sandals, and armed with his okatana, Naruto twisted through the Misfits' attacks, occasionally smacking them with his sheathed sword. It wasn't painful, but it definitely stung. Smack, smack. A blow to Maru's shin, causing him to yelp, followed by a smack to the head. Dead, Naruto deadpanned. Smack, a blow to Mogi's side. Had Naruto impaled her, she would have bled to death. Dead. Smack, the older man swept Udan off his feet, followed by a double tap to the chest and head. Very dead, Naruto finished. Even acting as one, the Misfits could not gain the upper hand on the daimyo. They were capable of giving him a run for his money, but Naruto was the superior ninja. We almost had you that time, boss, Maru complained. One more time. Naruto chuckled. Maybe next time, Sarutobi. Before Maru could object, a Uzu Anbu appeared via Shunshin, along with a second person. Lord Daimyo, you have a visitor, the Jounin reported. Naruto saw that it was Rashoujin Hanzu. Frowning slightly, he wondered why he was here when he should be in Fire Country. Then it hit him. He forgot that Hanzu also knew the Shadow Clone's jutsu. He must have sent this copy to Neo-Uzu to get his take on the invasion. Hanzu bowed respectfully to Naruto. Sure, Hanzu was older, but Naruto was higher on the status ladder than he was. Unlike the salamander, Hanzu knew where to give honor and respect when it was due. Fortunately for Naruto, he was one of the few people that Hanzu genuinely respected, but Hanzu knew of Naruto's connections to Konoha. If Naruto decided to run interference, then his plans of razing Konoha to the ground would be in vain. Lord Daimyo, Hanzu greeted. Rashoujin Hanzu, Naruto replied, bowing back. I've heard that you've been busy. That I have. I wish to have a word with you, Lord Daimyo. Naruto turned and walked down the path leading to the village. Hanzu fell in step beside him, while Team Misfits and the Uzu Anbu tagged, baying at a respectable pace. So you know about my occupation of the fire capital, Hanzu began. Do you know I plan on invading Konoha and razing it to the ground? I've heard. Iwagakure wants to get in on the action, but has concerns facing you and Neo-Uzu should you fight on Konoha's behalf. If I decided to join in and help defend Konoha, then that would violate the non-aggression pact I made with Iwa and Earth Country, Naruto replied. The last thing I want or need is to be remembered for starting a shinobi war. Hanzu nodded in understanding, but you still haven't answered my question. Oh, I'm not interfering in your quarrel, Naruto replied. If I was younger, if I still wore the symbol of the leaf, then yeah. But after their betrayal and their repeated attempts to kill me, my wife and their antics concerning my children, I could have easily destroyed them myself by allowing the Ninetales to go to town. But I didn't. I decided to spare them, to let them know that the dead last could just as easily crush them in ways that Orochimaru and Madara could dream of. You spared them so that they could live with the disgrace, Hanzu surmised. He knew that Naruto was no coward. He knew how to pick his battles and where and how to strike for maximum damage, which was how he was able to destroy the Akatsuki. Hanzu approved, not bad. Most ninja tend to overlook battle tactics. I am honestly impressed, Daimyo Namikaze. Glad to see that your years as daimyo has not dulled your senses. Konoha is alone, Fire Country is alone. I also have ninja in the surrounding countries on assignment, Naruto said. Hanzu nodded in understanding. As long as they do not attack my ninja, I will show the same courtesy, and your allies. They will not interfere and at the same time will not fight on your behalf, Naruto replied. I've already discussed this with the others. I will not aid Konoha in any shape, form of fashion. I will not fight them as I have nothing else to prove to them, but I will not save them either. Hanzu smiled. That was the answer that he was looking for. Naruto had just confirmed to him that he was more than willing to send Konoha to a hell of their own making. I thank you for your time, Lord Daimyo. I will take my leave, Hanzu said, bowing, to which Naruto responded with a nod of his head. The shadow clone then dispersed. The fire capital, Fire Daimyo's residence. The memories of the shadow clone were transferred to the real Rashoujin Hanzu, who was currently in talks with the Tsuchikage Kuretsuchi. The leader of Iwa had her concerns when an AIM envoy came to her with a most interesting offer, the destruction of Konohagakure no Sato. Kuretsuchi noticed Hanzu pausing in mid-speech before a smile spread across his face. Good news from Neo-Uzu, she asked. Very, Hanzu replied. Daimyo Namikaze made it clear that he nor his allies will not aid Konoha. The Leaf's fate is sealed, so, about our alliance. Kuretsuchi nodded. You have the full support of Iwagakure no Sato. When do you plan on attacking Konoha? 3 weeks. That drunk of a Hokage actually think that Daimyo Namikaze will help them. As they sit, praying and hoping that their former Jinchuriki will help them, we will strike. I've heard that they've sent 4 of their ninja to Neo-Uzu to ask for help. By the time they return to Konoha, they will find it burned to the ground. Kuretsuchi nodded. One more thing. What's your take on Daimyo Namikaze? Hanzu thought about it for a moment. I respect him. He's been through so much growing up, being the container to the most powerful of the Biju. It takes a lot of willpower not to unleash hell upon a village that spits on you, yet was willing to defend to his dying day. Any weaker man or woman would have either killed himself or went mad with such a burden. Kuretsuchi could understand. After all, Iwa had 2 Jinchuriki of their own, Roshi and Han. Out of the pair, only Roshi was still alive as Han was killed by the Akatsuki. Like Roshi found a home in North Whirlpool, spending his life in peace. As long as Roshi did not don the hit gate with the Whirlpool insignia, she left him alone. Follow me, Hanzu said. I have an appointment with the Fire Lord. So, the idea of sending Konoha ninja to Neo-Uzu to try and get Daimyo Namikaze on their side was just a ruse, right? Of course. You really think that Konoha would actually succeed in the task that I gave them? The Yandame's son hate Konoha as much as you do. By the time our forces are in place, they will see that it was all for naught. I promise on the bones of the original Hanzu the Salamander, Konoha will be destroyed. By having the Fire Lord sign this scroll, it shows that he was more than willing to throw the village to the wolves in order to save his own life, thus demonizing him even more in the eyes of the public. The past 19 years had not aged the Fire Lord well, nor was he able to appease his counterparts in spring, wind, and water. After all, he too was one of the chief conspirators in orchestrating Uzumaki's banishment for a sizable cut of his family's wealth. Too bad Naruto had taken it with him when he left Konoha. His crimes made public, he had lost face with the other daimyos. Even Earth Country and Iron Country called him out on his arrogance in denying the son of the village's hero his legacy. When Whirlpool was reformed under the same boy he had ordered to be killed, he was the only one to denounce him, not recognizing his authority as Whirlpool daimyo. But since Whirlpool was allied with 3 different countries, invasion would result in Konoha's destruction. And now here he was, a prisoner inside his palace. AIM Ninja had the capital locked down tight following Konoha's attempt to rescue him several weeks earlier. He was allowed to move within his palace, but was always under heavy guard. His guardian ninja were of no help either, as they were slain protecting him. His wife had succumbed to a heart attack during the invasion, and to make matters worse, Hanzu forced him to watch as he and his AIM ninja slaughtered the Konoha ninja. He watched as the rescue force, 200 strong, were cut down. He watched as Asuma Sarutobi died while protecting his wife. He watched as Kurenai Sarutobi was pinned to the wall, her body riddled with kunai. Kakashi Hadake, the famed copy ninja, had fallen to Hanzu himself, his neck broken, and Sasuke Uchiha. Both eyes were ripped out and crushed under Hanzu's heel. The final indignity was Hanzu snapping the Rokudames back like a twig. Only 10 of the Konoha ninjas survived and made their retreat, taking the Uchiha with them. Hanzu ordered the remaining bodies to be incinerated. He was inside his study. A single AIM guard was his companion. The doors to the study opened and in walked Rashougen, Hanzu, and Kuretsuchi. General Hanzu, the AIM ninja, bowed. Hanzu ignored him as he walked towards his prisoner. Pulling up a chair, he sat down in front of the Fire Lord's desk. Ready to talk, the AIM warlord asked. The Fire Lord sighed. Giving Danzu the green light to attack him was definitely a bad idea. "What do you want?" he asked. "To discuss the instrument of surrender. We'll see how much your integrity weighs against the lives of yourself and of your family. I know you gave Shimura the order to try and kill me. I also know that you ordered him to kill my great-grandfather and his supporters. So rather than kill you in retaliation, I'm here to offer terms. These are non-negotiable, and I am merely offering you these out of courtesy. First, you will pay a one-time indemnity to both villages of Rain and Stone." "A bribe, you mean?" the Fire Daimyo shot back. "Call it what you like, but you will pay what you owe," Hanzu replied. Again, the Fire Lord had no choice. His life and that of his family's was at stake, that in paying off both villages could all but ruin him. Done anything else. Yes, the destruction of Konohagakure no Sato. What? Destroy Konoha. It already has been through enough with the loss of their Hokage, who was the last of the Uchiha. And from what you already told me, the majority of their Jounin and Chunin were killed in repeated assaults on the village. Destroy Konoha. We were the first of the nations to have a village. Please, spare the village. Hanzu's face was grim. Suit yourself. Without breaking eye contact, he addressed the AIM Jounin, his voice ice cold. Retrieve the Fire Lord's family, his mistress, children and grandchildren, all of them, and show them the same courtesy as he showed to my family. The Fire Lord's eyes went wide at the realization of Hanzu's order. He was going to execute his entire family. Wait. Hanzu cocked an eyebrow, one hand raised, stopping the AIM Jounin in his tracks. He had the Fire Lord right where he wanted him. Producing a scroll, he unrolled it and placed it in front of the Fire Lord. The Fire Lord looked at the scroll. It was titled TRMS of Surrender. It was already signed and sealed by both Hanzu and Kuretsuchi, but was missing his signature. "As you can see, my terms are harsh but fair," Hanzu said. "I have no desire for territory, nor to make Fire Country a protectorate, nor does Iwa or Earth Country. But the terms are clear. Fire Country will no longer have a shinobi village. In exchange, we will leave you in peace. Konoha will be burned to the ground. Its ninja from Chunin to Jounin will be slaughtered should they resist. Any ninja who surrender to our forces will have their chakra sealed and sent into exile. Any genin will be taken by Iwa and AIM back to their respective villages. Their minds will be wiped clean and we will raise them as our own ninja. The civilians will not be harmed. All jutsu will be destroyed. Any clan's wealth that is left behind will be paid as part of the indemnity. Since the Uchiha clan is now extinct, its wealth will be used as part of that indemnity. So what's it going to be? the lives of your family for one village who has dug its own grave. Or I execute your family as you watch, with you being the last to go, and the rain and stone will crush Konoha regardless. Make your choice now." With a trembling hand, the Fire Lord reached for his pen, but Hanzu stopped him. Hanzu chided. Before the Fire Lord could say anything, Hanzu grabbed his hand and jammed the pen into his palm, causing the old man to yelp out in pain. "Now you may sign," Hanzu said. With a second cry of pain, the Fire Lord yanked out the pen and signed the scroll in his own blood. The scroll reacted to the signature, making it binding as the Fire Lord applied his Henko seal onto the document, making it legal. With that action, the Fire Lord had officially sealed Konoha's fate. The Ino Shikacho trio and Tenten had left Konoha that very night. They could have taken a boat downriver to the coast, but Aim and Iwa Ninja patrolled the river, forcing them to take the long way around, which meant heading north, traveling incognito as not to attract any unwanted attention from unfriendly ninja. Their destination was a small port in Lightning Country, where a ship would take them to Azura. The trip had taken them 2 weeks just to arrive at Azura. This was Ino and Tenten's second time returning to Azura, as was Tenten's, since they were part of the original recon team along with Neji Hyuga, Sakura Haruno, Maid Ogai, Rock Lee, Asuma Sarutobi, and Sasuke Uchiha when Whirlpool decided to host a Taijutsu tournament. It was also there where the big revelation was revealed that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki was the daimyo of Whirlpool and the former Hyuga heiress was his wife. Of course, Sasuke went through the tournament and, like an idiot, called out the Whirlpool daimyo, declaring his superiority over him as an Uchiha elite, despite having lost to him twice. Normally, Naruto would remain on the sidelines watching, but decided an object lesson in humility and humiliation was in order. Sasuke did not stand a chance as Naruto decimated the Uchiha prince, proving to all those present that he was the wrong daimyo to piss off. Things went from bad to worse when he activated his curse seal in violation of the rules. Naruto's response. A chakra-powered open palm strike to the chest, allow Wesker's Cobra Strike, which sent him to the tournament walls and a lifetime ban of showing up in Whirlpool on pain of death. The Uchiha's ego once again gave Konoha yet another black eye. Aside from the confrontation with Naruto and Sasuke, Neji confronted Hinata once again, while she was with her and Naruto's children. Ino and Asuma had witnessed the resulting beatdown from the sidelines. Apparently, Neji had forgotten that attacking the wife of a daimyo was a very bad thing, especially after threatening harm on her children. Ino shook her head. The beatdown she had given Neji the first time around when they were missing ninja was bad enough, but hell hath no fury like a woman protecting her children. Neji was sent to the Neo-Uzu jails for the duration of the tournament for the attempted assault on the Whirlpool daimyo's wife and children. After Hinata had beaten him within an inch of his life. Like Sasuke, he too got nailed with a lifetime ban for his attack on the daimyo's wife. And now they were on a boat heading for Azura, where the Namikaze family would be for the duration of the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament, with the fate of Konoha hanging in the balance. Tenten was out on deck. That's where Ino found her hunched over the railing, puking her guts out. Ever since the start of the mission, Tenten had been puking every morning. Ino thought she was sick, but it was Shikamaru who figured it out. "You really are a troublesome teammate," Shikamaru had said. "Tenten's pregnant." "Neji's the father." Ignoring the catcalls of the other male ninja, Ino approached Tenten. "You okay?" "Not really," Tenten replied. Ino bit her lip. "How long?" "Excuse me." Shikamaru figured it out. "How long have you been pregnant?" 3 weeks. "I only found out after the hospital blew up. I think Neji knew." Tenten was one of the 10 survivors of the failed rescue attempt of the Fire Lord. It was Neji who had found out from using his Bikogen that they just walked right into an ambush. Then the killing began. Cell 9 remained together with their flamboyant sensei and were delivering major losses to the AIM forces. Then Hanzu stepped in, and according to Tenten's report, things went to shit fast. Maid Ogai was the first to fall, then Rock Lee. Tenten would have been next, but Neji attacked Hanzu from behind and earned a broken neck. Neji's head twisted back a complete 180 degrees for the effort. His uncle was the next person to fall at Hanzu's hands. Kurenai was pinned to the wall with countless kana, and Asuma was hacked apart by katana-wielding AIM ninja. Shino and Shibai were incinerated using fire jutsu. The Ino Shikacho trio had fallen one by one. With the deaths of the elder trio, they were unable to reconcile with their children. Kakashi and Sasuke double-teamed Hanzo. Tenten saw that match. Headache lost his head, and Sasuke had his back broken and eyes gouged out. 5 of the Konoha Jounin fought Hanzo en masse, 2 of them being Tsume and Kiba and Yuzuka, already injured, allowing the other 9 to retreat with Sasuke. Hanzo decided to let them go, rather than to kill them all. Tenten, I am so sorry, Ino whispered. How am I going to explain this to our child? Tenten said, looking down at her stomach, which was covered up by her Jounin vest. It was flat now, but in a couple of months. You'll have to tell them the truth, Ino said, that their father died like a true shinobi. Pausing for a moment, Ino removed the hit-8 from her pocket. Looking into the metal piece with the insignia of the blade carved into it, the blonde Kunoichi ran her thumb over the symbol. I was so happy when I received this, but now, I can see now that Shikamaru was right. Konoha's days are numbered. But if we get Naruto on our side, then we might have a chance, the weapons master pointed out. Even if we did get Naruto on our side, Konoha is still doomed. Shikamaru explained it to Choji, and we lost too many high-ranking ninja ever since this war started. Our Chunin are as green as they come, and we're basically the last of the Jounin. Konoha is done. It's all his fault, Tenten said, that damned Kyuubi bastard. No, he's not the Nine-Tails reborn, he's a Jinchuriki, the human sacrifice, Ino explained. While I despise Naruto for being that, he is no demon. Between him and the Uchiha, I would rather deal with Naruto. But didn't most of the Jounin, including your father, try to kill him on separate occasions? Didn't you? Tenten remained silent after that. She did try her hardest to kill both him and Hinata when they were both missing ninja. She wasn't expecting Naruto to beat her at her own game by becoming a master swordsman. She was just following orders from Tsunade and the Fire Lord. The only person who truly looked out for him was the Sandaime. You think that Naruto would forgive us after all the crap we've put him through? Tenten asked. You mean the beatings, the repeated assassination attempts, and being betrayed? I seriously doubt that. I wasn't too gaga over him, but after Sasuke's attempted defection to Orochimaru, I wasn't too nuts about him either. Naruto had the power to destroy Konoha, but kept it in check. Sasuke was more than willing to kill in order to gain power, so in a way, I kinda respect Naruto and wouldn't blame him if he refused to help us. In Azura, Naruto sneezed. You okay? Hinata asked. Naruto nodded. I think someone is talking about me. Town of Azura, North Whirlpool Country, the following day. Preparations were underway for the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament. Ninja from the major shinobi nations and even the minor ones were starting to show up in preparation for the tournament. The town of Azura, a trading hub and popular tourist hot spot, would be full of people for the next 3 weeks. Even long after the tournament would end, ninja would remain for several more days before leaving for their respective villages. Nestled at the base of the Lodja Mountains, Azura was also known for its hot springs, to which several hot springs resorts were built to accommodate demand. Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, and Tenten, all dressed incognito, walked down the town's main street. Civilians and ninja were checking out the sights. The restaurants and food stands were nearly packed. Their fake IDs had allowed them entry into Azura without any fuss. Ninjas who were traditional rivals and enemies were all gathered to see who was the strongest. You would have loved this, Lei, Neji, Tenten thought sadly. Of course, her deceased teammates were present at the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament in its first year. That was 8 years ago. Since then, Sasuke's actions in the Whirlpool tournament and Neji's actions in his attempted assault on Hinata and her children, Konoha was not welcome in Whirlpool, given their blatant disregard for the daimyo's diplomatic immunity status. At the same time, ahead of the Konoha team. The wife of the Whirlpool daimyo knew how to turn heads, be it in her ninja uniform or in her chesagam dresses, the Chinese-style dresses you see Lei Feng fight in. Currently, she was dressed in the latter. One thing about Hinata Namikaze was that she hated kimonos and yukatas, stemming from her time when she was forced to dress up in those as the heiress. It was while in Spring Country in the 4 years following their exile from Fire Country in Konoha that Kayuki took her to a dress shop in which they specialized in chesagam dresses. She instantly fell in love with the dresses. Hair done up in a bun and secured in place with a pair of lacquered chopsticks, she walked the streets, turning plenty of male heads as she walked by. The chessagam was black with red trim, complete with a red rose motif, and showed plenty of toned leg. It was a known fact that the fox sage's beauty was matched with her talent, and any attempts on her life was a one-way ticket to the hospital, or worse. Speaking of their children, they were back in Neo-Uzu, with Katami watching them for the duration of the tournament. Her husband, the daimyo of Whirlpool, was in step beside her, dressed in his formal attire, white shirt, black long coat, vest pants, and boots, Hinata's arm looped around his own. Unlike most daimyos, Naruto could relate to the ninja, as he was still one regardless of being of noble birth. He knew what it was like to start out with nothing, survive backstabbers and betrayals left and right. Ninja who knew of his exploits, be it as a Konoha ninja to the daimyo of Whirlpool, good and bad, respected him. The daimyos also respected him for his abilities to rebuild a ruined nation into one of the most powerful in the elemental countries. What the populace didn't know was that the daimyo of Whirlpool and his wife were in fact shadow clones. Unknown to the four Konoha ninja, Naruto and Hinata were already onto them, hence the cage bushin that was leading them to Naruto and Hinata's Azura residence. Since they had arrived the previous night, they were spotted by Anko, who in turn notified Naruto and Hinata. Originally, Naruto had thought that they would not ask for help, but upon finding out that they were here, he told Hinata that she was permitted one "I told you so." His mind was already made up in regards to Konoha. This was their own mess, and he did not want to get involved, but since they made the trip, might as well not disappoint them with an audience. Daimyo's summer residence. Shikamaru suspected that something was up. This was too easy as they followed the daimyo and his wife through the streets, down a private walkway, and into their Azura residence. From the look of things, the home was designed like the destroyed Namikaze residence back in Konoha, only smaller. It was complete with a training hall and a lodge. Shikamaru and the others noticed that there were no guards, but suspected that Naruto didn't need any, as he was a Fuinjutsu master. Shikamaru's concerns were then verified as they followed the former Konoha ninja into the compound's courtyard, where they stopped, turned around, and faced them. "Pop, troublesome," Shikamaru muttered, "shadow clones." That was all he managed to say before he froze in mid-step, as did his teammates. Shikamaru's reason, the fact that there was a katana blade resting up against his jugular. Turning his eyes to the side, it was a less than amused daimyo of Whirlpool which held the blade at his throat. His teammates were no better off. Yahiko and 2 extra AMBU held both Chouji and Tenten at sword point, while Hinata's chakra scalpel was ready to sever Ino's carotid artery. Shikamaru Nara. "I'd expected better from you," Naruto drawled, not moving his blade from the lazy Nara's throat. You knew that we were here." It was a statement rather than a question from the last Nara. "What business does Konoha want with me?" Naruto asked. "Could you please lower your weapons?" Shikamaru asked. "We come in peace." "For your sake, I hope so," Naruto replied as he lowered his katana, while ordering Yahiko and the ANBU to do the same. Hinata dispersed her chakra scalpel and took her place at her husband's side. On Naruto's command, the Neo-Uzu ANBU dispersed but remained in the shadows. Sheathing his weapon but keeping his grip on the scabbard, Naruto and Hinata stood within double arm's reach of his former teammates. Shikamaru slowly went down to one knee, with the other 3 following suit. "This was the hardest thing that any of the Konoha ninja could ever do," asked the dead last, now one of the most powerful men in the shinobi world, for help. Had it been Sasuke, he would have scoffed at the thought of asking the Dobi for help. "Lord Daimyo," Shikamaru began, "on behalf of the Godame Hokage, Tsunade Senju, and of the village hidden in the leaves, we come seeking your aid. Aimgakure no Sato has invaded Fire Country. The Fire Daimyo has been taken hostage and is being held prisoner inside his home. The Fire capital has been occupied by AIM forces." "Why come to me?" Naruto demanded, already knowing the answer. "Why not send a rescue force to the capital and free the daimyo? And what happened to the Rokudame? Why is the old hag Hokage again?" "We tried and failed," Tenten replied, her voice cracking. 200 Jounin-level shinobi, nearly slaughtered down to the last man. I was there when the ambush was sprung. Most of the Konoha 11 was wiped out, as well as several clan heads. She looked at Hinata. "Your father and cousin were among the casualties, Lady Hinata." "You are mistaken," Hinata replied coldly. "I have no father, I have no cousin." "How could you be so cold?" Tenten demanded, rising to her feet. "They were your family. Neji was my teammate." You seem to forget that my father wanted to place the caged bird seal on my forehead because I wasn't the perfect little Hyuga he wanted, Hinata snarled. And you also forgot that Neji tried to kill me out of spite during the Chunin exams. Have you forgotten about that incident? I sure as hell didn't. Naruto placed one hand on Hinata's shoulder. She calmed down. What about the Uchiha? I heard he was elected Rokudame. Sasuke's dead, choose a deadpan. His eyes were ripped out and his back broken by Rashoujo Hanzo. When Kakashi tried to intervene, Hanzo killed him. Tenten and 8 others took Sasuke back to Konoha, where the village was already under repeated attacks by the smaller villages. One of the attacks was directed at the hospital, where it was converted into a triage center. Grass Ninja, armed with exploding clones and exploding tags, leveled the entire building. Sasuke Uchiha, Shizune, Sakura Haruno. All dead. Naruto remained silent. I will admit that Konoha has been hit pretty hard ever since you were banished, Shikamaru continued. Ever since AIM invaded, the Leaf has been under constant attack. We managed to fight off the attacks, but our numbers are being depleted. Our Jounin forces are down to less than 300, and our Chunin have not known battle until now. Sooner or later, we will no longer have the numbers to fight back. What does this have to do with me, Nara? Naruto asked, obviously irritated. Shikamaru decided not to tell Naruto of Hanzo's demands. He instead told him of what Tsunade wanted him to tell Naruto. The Godame has promised to acknowledge you as the heir to the Namikaze clan, offer you clan status in Konohagakure no Sato, and all of your past crimes will be pardoned. Naruto looked at Shikamaru long and hard before replying, "You lie." Excuse me. I said you lie, Nara, Naruto repeated, killer intent radiating from his body, affecting the 4 ninja. Even without the Rinnegan, I can tell that you are lying. Please don't lie to me, as it insults my integrity as daimyo. The old hag never agreed to those terms you presented to me, didn't she? Silence as Nara looked down. I thought so, Naruto said as his eyes reverted back to normal. You should follow village politics more, Nara. As daimyo of Whirlpool, I have automatic diplomatic status, as does Hinata, which means the entries inside the Konoha bingo book are null and void. Second, clan status in Konoha means nothing to me, as I know that is also a lie. Sasuke and Neji found that out the hard way when they tried to attack Hinata and myself. That's for sure, Ino and Tenten thought. Ino remembered the confrontation between the former Cell's 7 teammates on the eve of the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament years earlier. Sasuke had not been impressed with Naruto's rise as the daimyo of Whirlpool and still claimed superiority over the former Jinchuriki. Naruto simply got under his skin by saying that if he could not beat him, then killing Itachi was out of the question. That remark made Sasuke furious. Dobi. Do you have any idea who you are dealing with? Sasuke had demanded. Naruto's response was cold enough to send chills down Ino's spine. Do you? He responded. Look at where I am, Uchiha, and look at you. You claim superiority as an Uchiha elite, yet you can't beat me. You couldn't beat me at the Valley of the End even with your cursed seal, nor could you beat me in Tea Country despite your Sharingan. The fact that you are still alive is because of my grace. That, and your inability of trying to kill your elder brother, amuses me. Don't make me think I made a mistake, Uchiha, because I have absolutely no problem in ending the Uchiha line once and for all. Ino spoke up. We received a visit from Rashoujo Hanzo. He said that he would spare Konoha if you fight him one-on-one in single combat. Win or lose, he will spare Fire Country. That's why we're here. Almost immediately upon hearing that, Naruto knew what Hanzo was planning. So that's his game. Lowering Konoha's guard by giving them an impossible task to complete, then strike when they least expect it. By the time these 4 return to Fire Country, Konoha will already be under attack by AIM and Iwa forces. No, Ino repeated. No, Naruto repeated. Why should I fight for Konoha when it is well documented that they fail to keep their end of the bargain out of pure spite? I should know. I fought in the invasion when Suna and Odo invaded Konoha, stopped Gaara from destroying the town, and was denied Chunin. I brought that drunken hag back so she could be Godame Hokage, and was denied Chunin. Now Naruto was starting to get angry. And last, I brought your damned Uchiha back, and what do I get? Banishment with your parents and the Fire Lord trying to steal my legacy, what was rightfully mine from the beginning. The 4 ninja winced at Naruto's voice. Oh, but there's more, Naruto continued. so much more. Old man Sarutobi tried his best to protect me, that I will admit, but he could not stop the abuse. Ino and the others watched as Naruto's eyes changed from a vibrant blue to a light purple with a ripple-like pattern. Hinata stepped to the side, while Yahiko and the others backed away. Whenever Naruto unleashed the power of the Rinnegan, bad things happened to those who caused his ire, which is rare, but oh, was it a sight to behold. Now the 4 Konoha ninjas were on their knees, unable to move as they stared helplessly into the eyes of their former teammate. They watched as Naruto began to perform hand signs. You want to know suffering, you haven't seen what I've seen, experienced what I experienced. I will draw you into my mind, into my memories, give you a taste of what I have experienced back in Konohagakure. It was a jutsu that Naruto had created along with Kitami's aid. It was similar to that of the mind transfer jutsu that the Yamanaka was famous for. However, instead of Naruto transferring his mind over to the 4 ninja, he instead pulled them into his consciousness, into his memories, within Naruto's subconsciousness. Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, and Tenten had heard the reports of Naruto being abused. But now they were seeing it through his eyes as he was beaten mercilessly by the villagers and ninja of Konoha. Naruto's shouts of mercy were immediately drowned out with cries of demon, monster, Kyuubi bastard, kill the demon for the yondaime. And things just got worse from there. Naruto made sure that the ninja could see everything, feel everything, know what it was like to be an outcast, to be spit upon. There was no escape as Naruto opened up memories thought to have been suppressed, but resurfaced thanks to the 9 tails unlocking the mental blocks that were put in place. To drive his point home, Naruto showed them the numerous assassination attempts made not only by their senseis, but also by their parents. We must kill him before my father finds out that something is wrong. Asuma Sarutobi, slashing and punching with his chakra-laced trench knives. It is very troublesome, but a demon like you is better off dead. Shikaku Nara as he tried to strangle the young Naruto with his own shadow. It is most unyouthful in letting a demon live amongst us. I will avenge the yondaime and kill this beast. Mado Gai unleashing brutal taijutsu strikes on Naruto. This little bastard killed Kushina, he must die. Tsumen Yuzuka unleashing her Gatsuga. You fools, breaking his bones will leave a trace. I will kill him by destroying his mind. Inoichi Yamanaka attempting to fry Naruto's brain, drive the demon to madness, only then will he fall. Kurenai Yuyuhi as her red eyes glowed with unleashing her most powerful genjutsu on the helpless boy. The brat is not the son of the yondaime. Hayashi Hyuga as he nearly succeeded in killing Naruto with his Juyuken. It is imperative that the boy must die for Konoha's sake. Shibaya Burame as his bugs tried to destroy Naruto's chakra system. In dealing with the Kyuubi spawn, there is no such thing as overkill. Chusa Akamichi as one oversized fist sent Naruto flying into a wall. He killed Minato Sensei and his wife, for that he will suffer. Kakashi Hadake as he unleashed torrents of flame upon the boy, ignoring his screams. The boy is to be banished. He caused the death of Kushina, for that I will never forgive him. Tsunade Senju on the eve of Naruto's banishment, so we are in agreement. Once he is dead, all we need is a sample of his blood to get past the seals Minato set up surrounding the Namikaze estate. Afterward we will split everything inside from jutsus to cash. Since Kushina was the former daimyo of Whirlpool, she was loaded. Jirya also on the eve of Naruto's banishment. So long as you remember to give me my cut for allowing this. Once this is over and done with, destroy all records of the Kyuubi boy, birth certificate, ninja registration, everything. It will be as if he never existed. The Fire Lord, what about the Uchiha? Danzu, he will be cleared of all charges. I think teaching him some of Uzu's jutsu and giving him the Namikaze estate to recover will be more of a gesture to convince him to stay, especially if we teach him the Huraishin. Again, the Fire Lord, just as quickly it began, it was over. The Ino Shikacho trio and Tenten found themselves back in Azura, freed from Naruto's mind. As expected, Tenten threw up while Ino looked catatonic. Choji was visibly shaken while Shikamaru whispered troublesome, so very troublesome, over and over again. Now do you understand? Naruto demanded, Rinnegan still active, long coat fluttering in the breeze. They tried to erase the abuse that they did, but having the furball sealed inside your gut has its advantages. I found out the abuse the Elder Jounin did to me while I was in Spring Country. When the Elder Jounin came after me, I repaid their treachery in kind. You thought I was being cruel. I called it justice. Guy-sensei, why? Tenten moaned, as she felt her torso burn with the phantom pain of Guy's brutal attacks. Her impression of her sensei had dropped a lot when he was more than willing to try and kill an innocent boy. Asuma, my God, what have you done, Dad? Why did you do this? Ino whispered as she sobbed softly. Chauji was silent. Troublesome, Dad, you fool. Shikamaru muttered as the full totality of what they experienced had hit them. And at last they understand why Naruto would not help them. They thought it was out of pure spite, but he was justified in not helping them. Justified in wanting to see the Leaf Village burn to the ground. This is a mess of Konoha's doing, Naruto continued as his eyes returned to normal. This is the mess of the Fire Lord. My word is final. I will not come to Konoha's aid. The will of fire is gone, extinguished by the hands of the corrupt villagers and of the Shinobi Council. Had you decided to honor my father's request, I would be more than willing to fight for Konoha, but I refuse to fight for a village who will reward a traitor over a hero. What about us? Shikamaru asked. Killing you would be pointless, so your lives are yours still, the daimyo replied. But I want you gone by tomorrow morning. I have eyes and ears all over Azura, and I will know. Summoning the ANBU, he ordered them to take them back to their hotel for the night. Come the morning, they would be on the first ship back to Lightning Country. Shikamaru and Chauji helped the two catatonic women out of the compound, assisted by the Neo-Uzu ANBU. The Azura in later. Shock was the predominant expression at the revelations which Naruto had revealed to the four Konoha ninja. For a long time, they had been kept in the dark about the abuse and about the events leading up to his banishment. Shikamaru knew some of the details, but Ino thought that the lazy Nara was yanking her chain. They were wrong on all counts. Naruto was banished from Konoha merely for doing his job, which was to bring back the Uchiha. Banished because of the bigotry he faced as a Jinchuriki, out of blatant favoritism towards the last Uchiha, and because of greed, plain and simple. What was worse was that their senseis and their parents all had a hand in either trying to break Naruto or to outright kill him. Shikamaru looked outside the window. The inn overlooked the sea. He also knew that there were Uzu ANBU nearby on Naruto's orders. They were not prisoners and were free to leave, but further contact with the Whirlpool Daimyo was forbidden. Shikamaru reached inside his vest and pulled out a picture of Asuma and of his team. The picture was taken shortly after completing the Shinobi Academy. Such a stark contrast from seeing their laid-back, chain-smoking sensei to the man who tried to kill Naruto as a child. The pain that Asuma had done to Naruto was directed at him. Shikamaru felt every slice, every broken bone that Asuma had given him. Without giving it a single thought, he gripped the picture and ripped it into several pieces. Tomorrow, the team would leave in the morning. Upon returning to Konoha, they were going to have a long chat with Tsunade and Jiraiya, war be damned. Shikamaru was starting to see, as well as his teammates in Tenten, that Konoha had a lot of skeletons in their closet aside from the Uchiha massacre and the Hyugakumo incident. Shikamaru looked at his hit 8. Despite his lazy nature, he was a Konoha shinobi through and through. Now, his faith in the leaf was visibly shaken. The idea of abandoning Konoha was starting to get even more attractive after what he had just witnessed. He also knew that the others were starting to feel the same way, and if they fail to get the answers they deserved, then there will be 4 more missing ninja added to the bingo book. The following morning, final preparations were made in the town of Azura as the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament was starting the next day. Inside the daimyo's residence, Naruto and Hinata were chatting over breakfast when it was interrupted by the arrival of a Neo-Uzu ANBU. He was not alone, as there was an AIM courier ninja beside him. What is it? Naruto asked, annoyed that his time with his wife was being interrupted. Forgive me, Lord Daimyo, but there is someone from AIM here to see you, the ANBU replied. The courier ninja bowed to the daimyo and his wife before producing a scroll. Lord Namikaze, Lady Namikaze, General Hanzu sends his regards. After handing over the scroll, the AIM ninja and the Uzu ANBU left the couple alone. After making sure that the scroll was not booby-trapped, Naruto opened it. Inside was a copy of the surrender document signed by the Fire Lord, along with a small note attached to the document. Naruto scanned the note before passing both items over to Hinata. The tension was very high in Konohagakure no Sato. Their salvation lied in the one they had tried to kill. There were no civilians left in the city, only ninja. After the last attack, which had destroyed the market district, the remaining civilians were evacuated from the city and sent to other villages in Fire Country. The village was locked down tight. At the moment, it was nearly dawn. Hanabi and the Hyuga were patrolling the main road leading to the massive village gates. The Jounin ninja, now reduced to less than half of its strength, patrolled the city streets. The route ANBU, now under Tsunade's control following the death of Sasuke Uchiha, patrolled the streets alongside the remaining Jounin. There were no Chunin-level ninja, as Tsunade had express promoted them to Jounin. Things looked grim, but Tsunade and Jiraiya held out hope that Naruto's love for Konoha would save them, if they only knew. As the run rose over Fire Country, Hanabi noticed the scroll that was attached to the gate. A quick scan of her Bikogan showed that was not booby-trapped with exploding tags or poison of any kind. Flagging down a passing ANBU, she ordered her to take the scroll to the Hawkage Tower. Hawkage Tower. Jiraiya was summoned to the office of the Hawkage minutes after the scroll was delivered. He found Tsunade behind the desk, the color drained from her face, the scroll opened. "What is it?" the old pervert asked. With shaky hands, Tsunade handed over the scroll to her former partner. Soon, Jiraiya's expression matched that of the busty Hawkage. What had been delivered to Konoha's doorstep was a copy of the Terms of Surrender, signed weeks earlier by the Fire Lord, Rahoujin Hanzu, and Kuretsuchi. "The Fire Lord sold us out," Tsunade whispered. "We're considered expendable." Kaboom! The embattled Godame and her former partner turned to the window, where the massive explosion had literally blasted the door off its hinges, the massive doors flipping end over end like a pair of oversized shurikens, crushing any Konoha ninja that failed to get out of its way. Tsunade knew that Hanabi and the majority of the main branch Hyuga were stationed at the front gates when it blew. She had hoped that the Hyuga clan head's death was painless. Ninja came charging in, weapons drawn, wearing the symbols of rain and stone. As the Konoha ninja engaged the invading forces, both former Sannin came to a horrifying realization. Hanzu's demand of a match with Naruto was a decoy to allow his forces and those of the stone to move in for the kill. Hanzu's gambit had paid off in spades. He knew of Naruto and of his past as a Konoha ninja and had used that against them while forcing the Fire Lord to hand over Konoha to be destroyed by his and Iwa's forces. Naruto wasn't coming. The leaf was done for. The siege of Konoha has begun. Naruto was never going to help us, wasn't he? Tsunade asked as she and Jiraiya watched from the Hawkage Tower the deadly battle that was taking place. "I don't think so," the perverted hermit replied. "Never thought he would. Should have known that Hanzu would use Naruto against us. We fell for it. Then again, after what we tried to do to him, we're not exactly his favorite people now, aren't we?" Tsunade nodded. "So this is it then. The leaf goes out not with a whimper, but with a bang." "Seems that way. Wish I could die in my bed. But dying in battle isn't too bad. Let's make the Shinigami wait a while longer." Tsunade nodded. If Konoha was doomed, might as well make Hanzu and Kuretsuchi earn their prize. If Konoha was to fall, then they would take as many enemy ninja with them as they can. 1 week later. The siege of Konoha was indeed brutal. Tsunade and Jiraiya made good on their promise. Iwa had expected a quick victory, but Hanzu knew better. Konoha's back was to the wall, and despite inflicting casualties, Konohagakure stubbornly fought on. On the 3rd day of the siege, Tsunade Senju, the Godame Hawkage, granddaughter of Hashirama Senju, grandniece of Tabarama Senju, was killed in battle, but not before seriously injuring Kuretsuchi with her super strength. With their leader injured in battle, Iwa retreated. Hanzu, deciding that discretion was the better part of valor, decided to pull back his forces as well. Jiraiya, however, did not get through this battle unscathed. The poisons used by Rashoujin's great-grandfather were very deadly, and even now they were no exception. A well-aimed senbon needle laced with the salamander's poison nailed Jiraiya in the neck, a parting gift from Hanzu before pulling his forces back. 2 days after Tsunade's death, Jiraiya received word through his spy network that AIM and Iwa were now planning to launch a Leave No Survivors assault on the village. Hanzu's previous offer of mercy was now suspended. There would be no mercy. Jiraiya thanked his informant, then issued his final order. His information network was to be disbanded. After all, why would a dead man need an information network? Office of the Hawkage, shortly before the fall. Jiraiya knew he didn't have long. The remaining Konoha ninja had taken up positions in the area surrounding the Hawkage Tower and in Danzu's underground route headquarters. The protection seals kept AIM and Iwa's forces out, but it wouldn't be long before those seals gave out. The poison in his veins was taking its toll. Either he would die fighting or he would succumb to the poison. From the look of things, it would be the latter. His vision cleared long enough to see the unhappy faces of Shikamaru Nara, Tenten, Ino Yamanaka, and Chouji Akamichi. I know I've let you down. I've been a fool to myself. I thought I could live for no one else. You're late, Jirgya said. Where's Tsunade? Ino demanded. Dead, killed in action just the other day. It's over. Konoha is finished. Hanzu's demand to fighting Naruto was just a ploy to let our guard down. He refused, by the way, Tenten said. After what we learned, I really don't blame him. But now through all the hurt and pain, it's time for me to respect the ones you love, mean more than anything. Now Jirgya's interest was piqued. He leaned forward, ignoring the pain in his body. How much did he tell you? Everything he showed us the abuse and the assassination attempts on his life by the villagers, our senseis, even our parents, Ino seethed. And I'm guessing that he told you the truth about the Uchiha mission, right? The four ninja nodded. Outside the ruined village, Rashoujin Hanzu and the interim Tsuchikage watched as the seals keeping them outside Konoha were starting to fail. So with sadness in my heart, I feel the best thing I could do is end it all and leave forever. One of Hanzu's lieutenants approached the AIM warlord. Your orders, General Hanzu. Leave no survivors, Hanzu ordered. Show no mercy. Destroy any jutsu you find. Anything else is fair game. At that moment the seals sputtered, then gave out. Hanzu and Kuretsuchi, with her torso bandaged and one arm in a sling, gave the order to move out, back inside the office. Why did you do this to Naruto? Ino demanded, while Chouji cracked his knuckles and Tenten had several kunai in her hands. Why did you lie to us about the banishment orders? If anything, Sasuke should have been banished. For the record, I wasn't crazy about the Uchiha like the council and the Fire Lord was, Jirgya said, deciding to come clean for once in his life. The Fire Lord, Danzu, and those two elder councilmen and the civilian side of the council worshipped the ground that the Uchiha walked on, but we were both united in our hatred for Naruto for our own selfish reasons. His father was my student, a prodigy in the Fuinjutsu arts. I should have been happy that he surpassed me in skill. Instead, I became jealous at his success, especially when he created the Huroshin. What's done is done, it feels so bad. What once was happy now is sad. I'll never love again. My world is ending. Jirgya paused for a moment to cough into a handkerchief. Shikamaru noticed that there were specks of blood on the soft cloth. Outside, the forces of General Hanzu and Kuretsuchi began to slaughter the remaining shinobi forces before being delayed by a second set of seals. Here, 3 squads of Route A and BU delayed them, with orders to kill as many of the enemy ninja as they could before they were brought down. I thought that I had some more to teach Minato, Jirgya continued, but there was nothing else. Then he married Kushina, who was trained here in Konoha, but was the daughter of the Whirlpool daimyo. I knew that Kushina was very wealthy, given her status as royalty, and combined her wealth with the Namikaze wealth. They were the richest couple in Konoha. When Naruto was to be banished, I saw my chance. To get a piece of the wealth that was stored inside the estates, I acted purely out of greed. Why did Tsunade go along with the banishment? Why did she blame Naruto for her death? Ino demanded. Tsunade and Kushina were very close. Tsunade did not have any children and saw Kushina as a surrogate daughter. Tsunade did not know that Kushina was the Jinchuriki to the 9 tails, as was her grandmother was before Kushina, and as Naruto after his mother. Tsunade once told me that Naruto took his first breath by taking Kushina's last. She had opted to kill Naruto herself when we retrieved her after the Sandame's death, but she stayed her hand. I wish that I could turn back time. 'Cause now the guilt is all mine. Can't live without the trust from those you love. Explosions were heard outside as the explosive traps were triggered, having been laid there by what remained of the ANBU, decimating the Iwa ninja. Jirgya and Tsunade had seen that the main city streets were booby-trapped in the same fashion. If Konoha was to fall, then Hanzu and Kuretsuchi would have to work for it. Our friends died because of the elders' ignorance. Ino shouted, "You took the Yondame's legacy and tried to butcher it. Konoha lost everything because of your hatred towards Naruto." I know, and for that I deserve no sympathy, Jiraiya said. Minato entrusted Naruto to the both of us as we were both his godparents. Off their shocked looks, the dying man continued. But Tsunade and I wanted nothing to do with him, and we left him at the mercy of the people. Uruka's friendship towards Naruto was false. Tuchai and Iam tried to poison him to death. Hell, I even tossed him into a ravine. Naruto summoning the boss Toad was a fluke. The remaining route ANBU, led by Sai, confronted Rashouj and Hanzu. I know we can't forget the past. You can't forget love and pride. Because of that, it's killing me inside. As the Iwa and AIM forces engaged the emotionless elite of the Ni, Sai fought Rashouj and Hanzu, forcing the AIM warlord on the offensive with his ink jutsus. Inside the office, I confess that I betrayed the Sandaime, my student. As much as I hate to admit, Naruto held the ideals that Hashirama Senju once had. The will of fire, Jiraiya said. He smiled sadly, just like his father. He would have brought Konoha to greatness without force. I will tell you all something. It was the Uchiha, particularly Madara Uchiha, who unleashed the Nine Tails in a frenzied state upon Konohagakure. It was Fugaku Uchiha who plotted a coup d'etat. And it was Itachi Uchiha who slaughtered the Uchiha clan not to test his limits, but to stop a civil war. I let my ego and my pride cloud my judgment. Tsunade let her hatred cloud hers. Naruto was not the nine-tailed fox in a human body. He was just an innocent boy in all of this mess. Sai's body fell to the ground, his neck broken. Rashouj and Hanzu turned from his men who were finishing off the remaining members of the Route ANBU. He looked at his prize, the Hawkage Tower, which sat in the distance. The seals were a hindrance, but he knew that Konoha was finished. He planned to thoroughly clean out the village of anything that wasn't nailed down. Then he would destroy all of its prized jutsu, be it elemental or clan techniques. The Hawkage Tower he would save for last, inside the office. You four are the last of the Rookie 11, Jiraiya said. You can stay, fight, and die, or you can make a new life for yourselves. Like I said, Konoha is finished. The seals will only keep AIM and Iwa out for so long. As acting Hawkage, I relieve you four of your duties. Get out while you still can. It's too late for me, but it's not too late for you. Hanzu's forces are coming down the main street, which means you have a 30-minute window to get whatever you need from your homes. Use the hidden route inside the graveyard behind the Shadaime's grave to escape. It all returns to nothing, it all comes. Tumbling down, tumbling down. Tumbling down. We can't just leave you here, Chaoji objected. You can and you will, Jiraiya said as he retrieved a chest from under the table and opened it. Inside were exploding tags, chakra-powered exploding tags, more than enough to level the Hawkage Tower. Something I picked up from Naruto, Jiraiya said, remembering the booby-trapped chest inside the Namikaze estates. He tossed Shikamaru a storage scroll. That should be enough for the four of you to start over. I think 20 million Ryo should do the trick. You're almost out of time. Get out of here. He smiled. Good luck. Shikamaru nodded, then he and the others left Jiraiya to his fate. Once they were gone, Jiraiya activated a second set of seals, exploding seals with a 10-second delay. He turned to the window and watched as Iwa and AIM made their way down the main streets block by block. It wouldn't be long now. Turning back to the desk, he found Tsunade's sake stash inside a drawer. Shrugging his shoulders, he decided on one last drink. Pulling out the bottle of the strong drink, he found several photos at the bottom of the drawer. Jiraiya pulled them out as he undid the cork. Since there were no drinking cups, he decided to just knock the whole bottle back. It all returns to nothing, I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down. The first picture was of himself, Tsunade, and Orochimaru back when they were genin, along with a younger Hiruzen Sarutobi. I fucked up big time, sensei, Jiraiya whispered. Konoha fucked up big time when it came to Naruto. If we only treated him better instead of treating him like he was a pariah, Konoha would not be in its final moments. You would be proud of him, sensei. He would have made a great Hawkage had he was given the chance. You saw that in him. He was unlike the Uchiha, thinking he could get something for nothing. He doesn't deserve our forgiveness. At the residential district, Shikamaru, Ino, Tenten, and Chusa went to work. They cleaned out their homes of any cash and of family jutsu scrawls. Tenten made a side trip to the Hyuga compound, where there were several remaining cadet branch ninja pilfering the compound. It was there that Tenten learned of Hanabi's ultimate fate. Knowing well that she was pregnant with Neji's child, the branch clan handed the weaponsmaster copies of the Juyuken scrolls and told her to leave. Tenten nodded in thanks and left the remaining ninja to their devices, but not before warning them that they had less than 30 minutes to get out before Hanzu's forces breached the seals guarding the residential districts. In my heart of hearts, I know that I could never love again. I've lost everything. Once they were prepared, they met at the grave of the Shadame. Their hit-I-8s and flak vests were left behind inside their homes, which they set fire to in order to deny Hanzu and Iwa anything of value. Knapsacks slung over their shoulders, they were ready to go. So, this is it, Shikamaru said. Never thought that Konoha would see its last days. Where do we go now? Ino asked. Somewhere neutral, somewhere with plenty of food, Chowji said as he finished off some chips. Everything. That matters to me. Matters in this world. Chowji's right about being somewhere neutral, Ino said. We're the last of what Konoha should have been. We need to stick together. We'll head for sea country and rest up. Then we'll decide on our next move. With that, Shikamaru, Nara, Ino Yamanaka, Chowji Akimichi, and Tenten made their final escape from Konohagakure no Sato. They never looked back. Inside the Hokage's office, Jiraiya found pictures of Minato and Kushina on their wedding day, and at home while Kushina was pregnant, along with pictures of Naruto with an elder Sarutobi and of Minato and himself. Tsunade still blames Naruto for Kushina's death. Minato, Jiraiya confessed, the sake now gone. He was fading and fading fast. It wasn't the Gaki's fault. If my pride and jealousy of you being a better seal master did not get to me, then I would have been at Naruto's side when the banishment orders came down. But you would have been proud of him, both you and Kushina. He's not Hokage, but the daimyo of Whirlpool. He revived her homeland. I wasn't worth the ground he walked on. Your son was better. I wish that I could turn back time. 'Cause now all the guilt is mine. Can't live without the trust from those you love. Outside the shattered window, he could hear Hanzu shouting orders. Secure the tower. I know Jiraiya is still alive somewhere. Bring him to me. As the ninja charged into the tower, Jiraiya let loose a small smile. With this final act, he would deny Rashoujin Hanzu and Kuretsuchi the pleasure of displaying his corpse for all to see. Wish I could go out in style, he murmured as he held the photos close, his heart slowing down. I was hoping in bed with 2 half-naked ladies. Oh well. At least I could take out some more ninja before I go. He sighed. If only we treated Naruto better. Minato, Kushina, Sensei, Naruto, I am so sorry. With those words on his lips, Jiraiya breathed his last breath and died. I know we can't forget the past. You can't forget love and pride. Because of that, it's killing me inside. Not long after Jiraiya's death, AIM Ninja burst into the room. All they found was one dead former Sannin, clutching several photos to his chest and a closed chest resting on the desk. Thinking that there was something valuable inside the chest, the 3 AIM Ninja opened it, and the exploding tags and the seals Jiraiya had set around the office and all over the Hokage Tower activated. Kaboom. Outside there was a flash of white, which was followed by the explosion, killing any AIM and Iwa ninja that were inside. The tower that collapsed onto itself, leaving nothing but debris and rubble. The blast waved through the invading ninja back, Rashoujin included. The great-grandson of the salamander rose to his feet and looked at the burning ruins of the Hokage Tower. So, Jiraiya was there after all, Hanzu thought. Well played, old man, but in the end futile. It all returns to nothing, it all comes tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. Indeed, it was futile. Upon Jiraiya's death, the seals had failed, allowing full access to the village. Turning to the AIM and Iwa ninja, he declared victory. The leaf has been crushed. Take whatever spoils you can carry. Destroy any jutsu you find. Konohagakure no Sato is finished. With that, the looting began. The fire capital, Fire Daimyo's residence. With the majority of the occupational forces down in Konoha, the Fire Daimyo decided to act. After one final visit of his family, he designated his eldest son as his successor before locking himself inside his office. The Fire Lord sat behind his desk, looking over the document which he had signed, turning over Konoha to slaughter. Hanzu was thorough. The civilians who had escaped Konoha were forbidden to leave Fire Country in order to start over. In effect, they were like him, prisoners inside their own homeland. It all returns to nothing, I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down. He sat back in his chair, the tanto in his hands. He had hidden it inside his office, and the AIM forces had failed to find it. The blade was unsheathed, already stained with his blood, having sliced his wrists. The burden of selling out his integrity in exchange for his family's lives had proven too much for him to bear. He had hoped with his final sacrifice that he would at least find some redemption in the life thereafter. It all returns to nothing, it all comes. Tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. He would be found dead inside his office an hour later by his AIM guards. Ruins of Konoha no Sato, dawn. Konoha no Sato, once the strongest of the shinobi villages, was in flames. Rashougen Hanzu watched the city burn with an impassive look in his eyes. The city had been picked clean, its jutsu destroyed. He even decimated the remaining Route ANBU in Danzu's underground headquarters by flooding the underground base with the salamander's poison, following by destroying all exits with several exploding tags. Kuretsuchi and her Iwa ninja had long since left the battlefield, taking with them the spoils of war. Out of respect, did Hanzu order the graveyard not to be touched. The siege was over, but he had to admit that Konoha made him work for the victory. Over a quarter of AIM's ninja force had been killed, and it would take some time to recover. One of his lieutenants approached him. General Hanzu, we received word that 4 Konoha ninja has escaped the village. Only 4, Hanzu repeated, disinterested. Yes, General, Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, Chouji Akamichi, and Tenten. Your orders. Hanzu thought long and hard for a moment. They are of no consequence to us. Our mission is accomplished. Consider this a mercy to the remnants. However, should they try to kill me, I will be more than willing to send them to meet their family and friends. Sir, another ninja appeared, word from the Fire Capital. The Fire Lord was found in his office. He's dead, General. Hanzu nodded. Withdraw our forces from the capital. We are returning to Aimgakure. It all returns to nothing, I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down. By the end of the week, the news would spread throughout the elemental countries. Konoha had fallen to AIM and Iwa. Most of the people's reactions outside of Fire Country came up to just 2 words, good riddance. The destruction of Konoha had not left a power vacuum as expected. Konoha had long since lost its status as the powerful of the shinobi villages. Neo-Uzu was now the most powerful, Suna and Iwa tied for second place. The people of Fire Country, their pride was broken with the loss of their village and of their wealth. Even Wave Country under Gado's rule was better off than Fire Country. The old saying was indeed true, pride does come before the fall. Neo-Uzu 3 days after Konoha's destruction. The message from the ANBU was brief, yet satisfying. Konoha destroyed. Fire Lord committed suicide. Tsunade Senju confirmed KIA Jirya, confirmed KIA Hanabi Hyuga, confirmed KIA Nara, Yamanaka, Akamichi, and Tenten confirmed missing. Aimgakure and Iwagakure forces returned back to their villages. Naruto read it once again before setting the slip of paper down. Konoha was gone. Out of the entire shinobi force, only 4 known survivors. The assault had taken place during the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament. In a way, it was justice. A long time coming, but it was justice. He shared the news with Hinata as they sat over lunch inside his office within the Neo-Uzu compound. It's finally over, Hinata said. Konoha is gone. Naruto nodded. He could have destroyed Konoha any time, but he chose not to, deciding to let Konoha dig their own grave. For Fire Country, the destruction of the leaf and the suicide of their leader will probably be the most important day of their lives, Naruto mused. Really? His wife rebuked. So what was it for the both of us? Naruto smiled at his wife. For us, it was Tuesday. Hinata chuckled and the couple resumed eating. Maru asked me to relay a message to you. He wants to lead a group of ninja to the ruins to recover the ashes of the first 4 Hokages. Naruto grunted. The idea does have merit. They deserve a better resting place than in the ruins of a soon-to-be-forgotten city. Tell Maru that I will accompany him. We will leave for Konoha by the end of the week. Besides, I always wanted to piss on the ashes of the leaf. Hinata shook her head. Honestly, why do I even bother with you? She said in a teasing tone, because you've been nuts over me since our Genin days. Whatever, I'll tell Mogi and she will relay the message to Mar. All ruins of Konoha no Sato 3 weeks after its destruction. It was a strange homecoming of sorts. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Hinata Namikaze, Anko Mitarashi, Kitami Akashiya, and Team Misfits were returning to Konoha after being away for so many years. They were not alone, though, as an escort of Neo-Uzu ANBU were escorting them, as well as Minato and Hitomi Namikaze was accompanying them to their parents' ancestral village. It was an S-ranked assignment ordered by Naruto himself, the recovery of the ashes of the first 4 Hokages, Hashirama Senju, Tabarama Senju, Hiruzen Sarutobi, and Minato Namikaze, as well as the ashes of Naruto mother and predecessor, Whirlpool Daimyo Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. Unlike the Konoha team, whose trip had taken them 2 weeks just to get to Whirlpool, it only took Naruto and his team 1 week from start to finish to arrive in Fire Country, then onto the Konoha ruins. The destruction of Konoha came after the conclusion of the Whirlpool Taijutsu tournament. Tsunade and Jiraiya were dead, as were the majority of the Hyuga clan. Aside from Tenten and the Ino Shikacho trio, several main and cadet branch members of the Hyuga escaped and had hooked up with the 4 missing Jounin, from what Naruto had learned from his information network. Hikaru and Kasumi Sarutobi, ages 10 and 7 respectively, the daughters of the late Asuma and Kurenai Sarutobi, had escaped with the civilians when Konoha ordered its civilians to be evacuated. Before heading out of Fire Country, the Ino Shikacho trio and Tenten found them and retrieved them from the civilian remnant that was in hiding before fleeing the country. They owed Asuma and Kurenai that much. Luckily, they found out that their parents did not poison their minds about the Jinchuriki. Deciding to keep their crimes in regards to the Kyuubi Jinchuriki a secret, they decided not to tell Hikaru and Kasumi, which would destroy their impression of their parents. Better to have them think that their parents died honorably. Naruto knew where they were hiding, and even he knew from experience that the life of a mercenary missing ninja was not an easy one. His own children were born in Suna, and had traveled with him and Hinata before he decided to revive Whirlpool. So after talking it over with Konan, he decided to do the one thing nice for anyone from Konoha. After all, only Shikamaru and Chouji were the ones who showed him kindness despite their parents' attempts to kill him. Ino had grown out of her obsession over the Uchiha following the retrieval mission, deciding to let Sakura have him. Then there was the fact that Tenten was now a widow, having married Neji in secret, thus making Tenten the de facto head of the Hyuga, as she carried the branch clan head's child in her womb. The marriage became public thanks to Hanabi, but before Neji could be reprimanded for marring someone out of the Hyuga clan, Rashoujin Hanzu had invaded Fire Country. With Konan approving of the situation, he dispatched a Neo-Uzu courier ninja to Sea Country with the following terms: asylum in Whirlpool Country with the rank of Jounin. Of course, they would be on probation for 1 year, and their missions would be limited to mostly patrols in Whirlpool, Wave, and North Whirlpool. Should they wish it, Hikaru and Kasumi would be enrolled in the Neo-Uzu Shinobi Academy. The offer was also extended to the surviving Hyuga, with the promise that the caged bird seal would be forever banned so long as the Hyuga served Neo-Uzu. Both Naruto and Hinata were dressed in their combat gear from their days as mercenary ninja. Even though Naruto was the daimyo, he was still a ninja overall. As they approached the destroyed village, Naruto and Hinata separated themselves from the group to walk around, while ordering Maru and the others to meet up at the graveyard, but not before taking Minato and Hitomi with them. Kitami decided to tag along with the Namikaze family. "So, this was your home, where you and Mom grew up?" Minato asked as they followed their parents through the village. Naruto nodded. "Yeah, things were different back then. I was an orphan denied my family legacy, despite old man Sarutobi's efforts. She was the heiress to the Hyuga clan, your Uncle Maru. He was not that much younger than me. I met him inside Sarutobi's office. He accused me of stepping on his scarf, which was longer than he was." "So what are we doing here?" Hitomi asked. "This place is a wreck." "Closure mostly," Hinata replied. "Konohagakure has tried to kill your father and me for a long time. Only when he became the Whirlpool Daimyo did they almost stop altogether. We didn't tell you this, but they tried to kidnap you a couple of years ago." "Because of our Dojutsu?" Minato asked. Naruto nodded. "Because of your Dojutsu." The orphanage where Naruto had spent the first 6 years of his life was nothing but rubble, as was the rundown apartment where Sarutobi had set him up in. The Uchiha district had long since been destroyed, as the Hokage had cordoned the entire area off. The Konoha hospital, nothing but debris, the final resting place of Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Last was the Hokage Tower, Jiraiya's resting place. Naruto made good on Hanzo's suggestion and promptly emptied his bladder onto the debris. In truth, this was Naruto's second time in returning to the village. When the attempt to kidnap Minato and Hitomi had failed, Naruto had personally infiltrated Konoha, disguised as an ANBU Black Ops operative with the intent of killing Sasuke Uchiha, but instead stayed his hand. He had beaten Cell 7, and that was the end of it. The dead last was clearly stronger than his former teammates and sensei. Using a root ANBU which he had hypnotized with his Rinnegan, he gained access to Danzu's underground root headquarters. There, now under the henge of a root operative, Naruto found Danzu's files on himself, Hinata, their 2 children, and those regarding Hanzo the Salamander and Rashougen Hanzo and the Tsuchigake Kuretsuchi. Danzu kept meticulously detailed files on those who he in his eyes were the threats to Konoha and to himself. Danzu also left detailed information about how he betrayed Hanzo in the Second Shinobi War, of how his root ANBU slaughtered Hanzo's family and supporters, and of his plans to assassinate Rashougen Hanzo should he ever come to power in Aimgakure, not to mention orchestrating the assassination of Kuretsuchi's grandfather, Onoki. Even damning was the fact that the Fire Lord himself had signed the Blackout Order. It was then Naruto decided to formulate a plan. A plan which would lead to Konoha's downfall. He left with the files and escaped from Konoha once again without drawing the attention of the Konoha ninja, but not before torching Ikaraku's ramen as payback for Tsuchi and I in poisoning his ramen. Once he was in Wind Country under the pretense of visiting Gaara, he sent the copies of the files to Aim. Hanzo did not know who had sent the files, of course, but Naruto knew that should Hanzo come to power, then Danzu will try to assassinate him. As expected, Hanzo was on his guard. So when Naruto received word that Aim had invaded Fire Country, he was not surprised. Hinata knew, of course, as he was the one who told her the same day that the notice about the invasion came in. Flashback. Office of the Hokage, you know that Konoha will more than likely ask for our help, Hinata said. They always believed that you would defend your precious people in their darkest hour. Naruto scoffed, the people that are precious to me are here. Konoha chose a traitor over me. They did not see me as a human being, but rather the Ninetales reborn. Some of them hate the Uchiha runt, but they despise me even more. People I thought were my friends tried to kill me over the years. Tsuchi and Gan with their poisoned ramen, your own sensei with her genjutsu. Even Tsunade and Jiraiya wanted my death for their own selfish reasons. The daimyo of Whirlpool rose from his seat. I will not aid Konoha in this mess of their own choosing. Even if they offer me the position of Hokage, I would not accept it. They made their choice. Now they have to live with it, which is not for very long. Is there something you're not telling me? Hinata asked. Whatever you mean, Hinaheim. Hinata folded her arms across her chest. You're a lousy liar, Naruto. I know you're up to something. So it's part of the job. Naruto. Fine. Naruto reached into his desk drawer and pulled out several manila folders. He handed 2 of them to Hinata. Remember when the Uchiha and Hayashi tried to kidnap our children by using the Hyuga ninja and the root ANBU? Hinata nodded. I left a shadow clone here and followed the Hyuga ninja back to Konoha, Naruto confessed. He then gave her the whole story about how he planned on using the Rinnegan to cause havoc, but instead snuck into Danzu's root headquarters and stole the files on his family and on Rashougen Hanzo. You made copies and sent them anonymously to Rashougen Hanzo, Hinata guessed, to warn him of Konoha's intentions. Naruto nodded. I thought about going to war with Konoha for the slights they had done to us, but instead we'll let someone else do the fighting. Someone who has a valid grudge towards Danzu and the others. I knew that Konoha would try something funny, so I sent him the files as a heads-up warning. It can't be traced back to me. For all he knows, it could be the Shinigami who sent him those files. I'm also betting that Iwa would also want in on destroying Konoha, due to the bad blood between the two from back, when my old man Hurry Shined most of the Iwa forces into oblivion. Since we both had ties to Konoha, they would worry about us joining in on Konoha's side, so they will need some reassurance in us keeping out of the war. Once I make my intentions personally clear, only then will they invade the leaf and burn it to the ground. And how will you do just that? Hinata asked. Easy, aim will come to us. Afterward we sit back and wait. Too bad we have to leave for Azura. I would love to be there when Konoha finally get their comeuppance. Just sit back and watch the mayhem unfold with a nice drink and some popcorn. And what about the Konoha 11? Not all of them are guilty. They did treat us with some kindness. Kiba wanted to get into your pants. Neji still hates your guts after you kicked his ass twice. Sasuke and Sakura, they want me dead. Shino and Rock Lee are somewhere down the middle, and the Ino Shikacho and Tenten, they were the only ones who didn't treat us like crap. He smiled evilly. I know that Konoha will send someone here to ask for aid in this war. Kinda ironic, don't you think, that their intended savior is the one responsible for their destruction. Konoha's downfall was bound to happen sooner or later. I'm just giving it a little nudge in the form of Hanzu and Kuretsuchi. Some people would call that hubris, Hinata said. It's only hubris if I fail, Naruto replied. Either way, the files can't be traced to me. End flashback. I never should have doubted you, love, Hinata acquiesced. You truly live up to your title of being the most unpredictable ninja. I know. It was one hell of a gambit, though, Naruto admitted as they stopped in front of what used to be the Hyuga compound. All was left was a smoking ruin just like everywhere else, but it paid off. Indeed it has, Hinata replied. Konoha graveyard. The graveyard was left untouched as per Hanzu's orders. Once Naruto and Hinata had arrived, the digging began. Maru and Naruto uncovering the ashes of Hiruzen Sarutobi, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Namikaze, while the ninja unearthed the remains of Tabarama Senju and Hashirama Senju. In all, 4 urns were recovered, one of them containing the remains of both Minato and Kushina, as it was in his will that their ashes share the same urn, thus being together in death. With great care and reverence, the urns were stored in a storage scroll. With nothing else left for them in Konohagakure, the Neo-Uzu contingent left for Neo-Uzu Shiagakure. Neo-Uzu Shiagakure no Sato, 1 week later. In a quiet, solemn ceremony, the remains of Daimyo Kushina Namikaze and her husband were laid to rest inside the Uzu cemetery. The Senju brothers and Hiruzen Sarutobi were also laid to rest by Maru's hand. Returning to the village, the Namikaze family and Team Misfits found an unexpected surprise waiting for them. The Konoha remnants, consisting of the Ino Shikacho trio, Tenten, and 30 Hyuga ninja. It was apparent that they had received and accepted Naruto's invitation of asylum. While Naruto was away, the courier ninja found Shikamaru and the others and delivered his message. After spending several hours taking about it, they decided that working for Naruto wouldn't be a bad thing. Having been elected as spokesman not by his choice, Shikamaru approached Naruto. The Whirlpool Daimyo did the same. I see you received my message, Naruto said. We did, Shikamaru said, and we all agreed. We don't know you and Hinata survived as mercenary ninja, but it's too troublesome for us. We accept your offer of asylum. Naruto nodded. Good, how many you have with you? 30 Cadet Branch Hyuga, 5 Main Branch Hyuga, Ino, Chaoji, myself, Tenten, and Asuma Sen. I mean Asuma's girls. Sarutobi had kids, Naruto asked, with Kurenai. We'll have them enlisted in the Shinobi Academy immediately. I will warn you only once. This is a one-time act of mercy, as you and your 3 friends showed kindness to me and Hinata. Any acts of treachery from you or the others, and they will not be around to argue. Are we clear? Shikamaru nodded, very. You may go. Conan will see to it that you and the others are given a place to stay. Thanks, accompanied by several ANBU, Shikamaru and the others left. Naruto returned to Hinata and the others. He dismissed the impromptu honor guard and returned home with his wife, the smile never leaving his face. It was the smile one would have where friends were reconciled. It was one of victory and of vengeance having been served. Sure, Hanzu and Kuretsuchi had destroyed Konohagakure, but he was the silent partner of sorts, delivering the damning evidence he found inside the root headquarters into Hanzu's hands. He was able to do what Orochimaru had failed to do. He crushed Konoha. What made his victory even more sweeter was the fact that he did it without drawing his sword. Ironically, Konoha had banished him because he was capable of destroying Konoha. In the end, they were right, but they brought it down on themselves, aside the fact that Naruto did not need the power of the Nine Tails in order to do so. In the end, it all came down to honoring the final wishes of the Yondaime. Had Kano Hagakure and the former Sannin did what Minato had asked, then none of this would have come to pass. Konoha would still be the most powerful of the shinobi nations, Sasuke would have been imprisoned for his attempted defection, and Naruto would have been recognized as a hero as per his father's wishes. Those who do evil will eventually face judgment, either in this life or the next, Naruto thought. Konoha loses, and I win. Through this, Fire Country will fall and Whirlpool will rise. Oh, who am I kidding? Whirlpool has already risen to Great Village status. Only difference is that I used diplomacy rather than Danzu's method, by the edge of a sword. A tradition that the Namikaze will follow for as long there is a need for shinobi. Ironically, the day of Konoha's destruction had fallen on a significant date. The day of his banishment following the Uchiha retrieval mission, which made his victory all the sweeter. It had taken 20 years, but Konoha Hagakure had finally received its just dues. Finally, guys, this story is over. If you enjoy, then please check out our Patreon page.